Hello and welcome to episode 33 of Some Like It Real. I'm Bryan.
And I'm Veronica.
And we're two cinephiles who love to talk movies.
We have weekly episodes discussing the newest films, creating lists and drafts, and keeping you updated on the latest movie headlines and awards races.
As a reminder, please like, rate, and subscribe on YouTube and your favorite podcast platforms, which helps more people find the show.
And share it with any cinephiles in your life.
To infinity and beyond, just keep swimming, put that thing back where it came from, or so help me, are just a few lines related to the films that we'll be discussing on today's episode.
Yes, this is going to be a special one, so in honor of Toy Story 5 hitting theaters this weekend, we'll be doing a Pixar draft.
And to make it special, it's an auction draft.
Today we are testing out how much money we'd spend on films involving talking toys, a rat who loves to cook, a car voiced by Owen Wilson, and many, many more.
And joining us, we have two wonderful guests drafting with us for the first time. First up, Nicole Soroka.
Hey, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here. I feel like I'm at a very nostalgic period in my life, so this feels very fitting to be talking about Pixar films.
The perfect feeling you get when talking about Pixar films. Also joining us, Larry Freed.
Hello, hello. Pleasure to be here. I am probably the person in Bryan's life who doesn't stop talking about Pixar the most. So I felt like I needed to be here. And Bryan made it so.
I had to bring you on for this. I had to include you today.
Probably a lot of competition. I imagine you talk about Pixar with a lot of people, Bryan, so that's pretty impressive.
That's true. I do.
Well, we're so excited to have you both on. Thank you so much for joining us, Nicole and Larry. Before we get started, Bryan, would you like to explain the rules to our listeners?
Yes. So we will each have $1,000 to spend, putting together a team of 4 films totaling 16 in all. We'll be drafted in a traditional snake style, and if you fill up your team, you're forbidden from nominating any more films, even if it might be your turn to do so. Now, an important factor, other than this draft being auction style, is that just because you pick a movie doesn't necessarily mean you get it. You get to nominate that film for the bidding.
We have 30 films to draft from, so it means that a little over half of Pixar's catalog will be on the board. I wonder what'll be the highest bid and how much heartbreak will this unleash on the pod.
All the emotions will be coming into play this evening, just like a certain movie that will likely be on the board. Anyways, with that, it's time to pick the draft order. So, as per usual, I have our names on a wheel. There's nothing special with this. Wheelofnames.com, thank you so much for not sponsoring this podcast, but we appreciate you for crafting together a wheel that I could use every single time we do these drafts. So I have our names in the order of Bryan, Veronica, Nicole, and Larry. I'm not going to ask who wants to go first, because if you say you want to go first, you're likely going to go last, as proven on previous drafts for the pod. So I am just going to spin the wheel. We are going to see how this fares. Everyone be nice to each other. Here we go.
All right, we've got...
Oh
my God.
Oh, that was close.
Just skipped over me, went to
Holy
Nicole. So
moly.
Nicole gets the first pick.
Has it ever been that close?
Many
Before?
times.
A couple times, yeah.
Okay.
Veronica only just went first for the first time in our last draft. 6
Yo.
months
That's
of
right.
doing this podcast, and she had never gone first.
Wheelofnames.com. What a close thing.
Let's see what's
It's a
going to
nail biter.
happen next.
That feels pretty
Gonna
comfortably
be Larry.
Okay.
Yep.
That's a comfortable spot to be in.
All right. And then for team 3, or pick 3.
That's another
Oh,
close
oh, oh,
one.
oh.
and
Oh my
it just
god!
turned to
Another
Bryan.
close one. Holy moly! I don't think
It's never been
wheels
this
in
close
real
for
life
every
would
single
ever
spin.
be that close.
This
Yeah.
is actually insane that
Okay,
it was
my
like that.
my spin was not close. Mine was very comfortable. But there you go, man. That keeps the game.
Two nail biters.
Yeah, that keeps the game interesting.
And I'm going
this
last.
early.
That's where I'm comfortable at this point. You know, I was
It's
born in
the
it.
designated Veronica spot.
Yeah, I play
Jesus.
cleanup a lot.
Oh. Hey, don't talk about Pixar like that.
So the draft order is Nicole, Larry, me, and Veronica. So before we get into drafting all these films, going around, I would love to pose the question of what does Pixar mean to you? There's obviously a lot to say about this studio that has been around for over 30 years at this point, pumping out some of the best animations that we have ever received. So, Nicole, I'm going to start with you. What is your relationship to Pixar, and what do they mean to you?
Yeah, absolutely. I think Pixar for me, I mentioned, feels very nostalgic. It feels like a warm hug. You know, you learn all these lessons about family and friends, and just life growing up. And I feel like some Pixar films are your first entry into filmmaking and how it can affect you with dreaming big and inspiring you and imagination. And so I feel like almost Pixar movies, I'd say, are that entry into a love of filmmaking for me, because it is those first few films that you see and you're like, wow, this is what a movie can do and what you can make you feel.
And Larry, same question for you. You obviously have a huge love for Pixar, so I would love to get your insight of what they mean to you.
Yeah, I do. I mean, what doesn't it mean to me is really the better question. I totally second what Nicole just said. You know, animated films, you know, despite the stigma that animation is for children, which is a stigma I deeply do not believe, that stigma does have one positive angle, which is that, you know, these are the movies that children are going to be watching. And if done in the right hands, they can be incredibly powerful experiences. And I doubt that any of us would be here if it wasn't for at least one of these films. You know, I have very distinct memories watching Toy Story and Toy Story 2 and Finding Nemo as a kid. I think one of the first films I ever saw in a theater actually was Finding Nemo. I had like a little birthday party and I had Nemo on a cake and everything. Core memory for me. But I also think that, you know, as nostalgic as they are, and I do agree with that, I am of the rare opinion that even today, I still think Pixar is whipping out bangers. I really do not fall to, I think, what's a very common narrative in the media landscape right now, which is that Pixar has sort of fallen from some great pedestal. I think that that nostalgia that we got from all those early films, sort of in the 2000s and going all the way through titles like Toy Story 3, right? They are great, but I do think that sometimes we wear these rose-tinted goggles toward those films, and we fail to recognize some of the beautiful artistry that's happening in a lot of the newer films. Some of the films that have come out in just the last few years from Pixar have been some of my favorites. You know, I saw Elio for the first time in a theater when it was re-released, and I cried. I was like, and that didn't happen to me on my first viewing. I cried, and it like jumped up my ranking, you know? Like, I think that these movies age incredibly well, and I'm excited for in the future, maybe a few years down the line, when we can reevaluate these films and we can stop looking at them as in the shadow of some of these other films and more just this beautiful studio that makes beautiful stories that clearly are just the filmmakers are so passionate and they're such strong detail-oriented storytellers. And it's nice to know that, you know, even when they're not on the top of their game, you know, that there are people at Pixar, the people who are at Pixar are really trying to create beautiful stories for everyone, not just children, but for families and for adults. And it's a nice ray of sunshine in a film industry that continues to feel quite bleak.
It's also important to point out, that was beautifully said, what you and Nicole both said. It's also important to point out that me and Larry have met one of the top people at Pixar unexpectedly.
My God. Oh, okay. Do we have to tell the story?
We should. Before we get into mine and Veronica's history with Pixar, we have to tell the story. This is one of my favorite stories ever of my life.
Yeah, okay. So Bryan and I were at the Toronto International Film Festival. I think this was 2 years ago?
Yeah, 2024.
2024, and I don't remember exactly when it was. Maybe we were waiting to go into another movie, or we had just gotten out of one. But it was us and a group of our friends who were there, and we wanted a big picture, a group picture together in front of the Royal Alexandra Theatre, which is one of the main theaters at the festival. And so we're like, we all want to be in it, so we're trying to find someone to take the picture. And the youngest member of our crew, Aryan, shout out Aryan P on Instagram and YouTube, he goes up to some random dude and he goes, "Hey, can you take this picture for us?" And he goes, "Yeah, sure." And we all get together and we're all like putting our arms around each other. And I'm looking really closely at this guy, and I'm like, this guy looks really familiar to me. And I'm looking and I'm going, holy shit, that's Pete Docter. That's the director of Up and Inside Out and Monsters Inc. and just like I happen to be nerdy about Pixar to the point that I could recognize his face in a crowd. And he was giving like a keynote or something there. And I noticed this and I was like, he takes our picture and immediately like, okay, that's cool. Can we get a picture with you now? And can we find someone else to take a picture with him? And the funniest part of all of this was that I don't think anybody really understood what was going on, but I was insistent that like we have to get a picture with this guy.
It took me a while to catch on. I'm like, wait, I recognize that guy, but I don't think it's him. And then when I'm like, it's the guy who's directed like 3 or 4 of the best Pixar movies ever.
Yeah, I think I was like saying like, guys, let's be doctor. We have to get a picture with him right now. And we got a picture with him, and he left, and we were all freaking out. And Aryan was like, who's that? Who are you talking about? Aryan is like, how old is he? Like, he's like 17 or something?
He's a baby.
Yeah, he's a baby in comparison to us. Like, we're in our like mid-20s or late 20s. And like, it was so funny having to like explain to him that like Pete Docter, director, Monsters Inc., and his eyes just like lit up as soon as he left. That picture is still quite a legendary
It was
photo.
taken on my phone, so my phone was touched by a guy who has, what does he have, like 3 Oscars?
3 Oscars, yeah. That's
insane.
Absolutely insane. And then I went to his keynote the next day, and it was great. So, Pete Docter, we love you.
One of the main reasons why I wanted to bring Larry on top of him loving Pixar, was that he was able to tell this story, because I wouldn't have done justice telling this story compared to someone who was also there when it happened.
It was pretty legendary, and it also just goes to show, respect the directors of animation. Learn their names, learn their faces. Like, if you saw Hayao Miyazaki in a crowd, I think everybody would be flipping their lids.
Oh, I would pass away if I saw him in the crowd.
Yeah, so, like, let's extend the same thing. Like, I do think that people like John Lasseter, Andrew Stanton, like the old school heads of Pixar, I think are pretty recognizable. I think most people would recognize them. And I think that we should extend the same to other directors of animation.
Absolutely. And to follow that, Veronica, what is your history with Pixar, and what did they mean to you?
Yeah, I don't have any exciting photobomb stories, but that was great to hear. I think for Pixar, the first Pixar movie was released in November 1995, and I was released 2 months later, so it's the kind of thing that's like just been there my entire life. And I mean, that's one way to put it, right?
That was incredible.
That might be the funniest thing you've ever said.
Yeah, that was amazing, Veronica. Thank you.
Just say it with a straight face. This was released, and then I was released 2 months later.
Just brilliant. Absolutely.
I did my time, 9 months, and I was released.
Oh, that's too good.
I mean, that's Pixar makes us laugh, makes us cry. It's just something that's always been around. Obviously, I don't even remember seeing my first Pixar movie. It's probably something that just, my parents showed to me, or I saw on TV, whatever it was. And so, yeah, these stories are just, I think that we're lucky to look at, a lot of things that we've grown up with, or, people who were kids at different eras. And there's definitely a lot of things that are programmed and designed for kids that are, maybe a bit like lesser than, they can condescend to kids, or just be obsessed with just holding their attention, and I think the fact that what was arguably something that I think just about any kid, any if you're of the right age, didn't matter your gender, your geographic location, anything like that, I would imagine that anybody in our generation has a relationship to Pixar, and the fact that it matters to so many people, and that they're of such high quality, that these movies, it's the kind of thing where you go back to revisit something you saw as a kid, and you're like, I don't know if this is going to hold up. I don't know if this is going to, feel dated or boring or anything. And I think at a great success rate, they pretty much all do hold up. Like, I can still watch any of these today and enjoy myself, and also have that added layer of nostalgia, and be something that I can, think back fondly. It brings a certain memory, a certain feeling to you. For me personally, I was a Disney World kid too, so I feel like that kind of adds to it as well. Like the experience of a kid of, walking through something that kind of feels like this childhood movie that you grew up with, like that kind of imprints on your psyche a little bit too. So I feel like that's wrapped up into how I feel about these movies as well. So yeah, I think that it's a great experience. It's something that I don't, think of a lot. I don't, come back and watch these all the time. I'm always busy seeing new movies or trying to catch up on certain directors or filmographies or whatever. So, I don't always have these top of mind, but it's like I can revisit one and it's like I watched it yesterday. So many of these are just like in my bones, in my brain. And yeah, I just absolutely love so many classics here.
Yeah, not too much to add here. I mean, Pixar has been special to me my entire life. I love how Veronica brought up Disney World. I'm wearing a Disneyland apparel right now, which is very funny. I couldn't find any of my Disney World merch, so I had to go and pick the other one from the West Coast and everything, which is, Disney is Disney, so it doesn't really matter. But yeah, I mean, these movies evoke a very comforting feeling for me. Nostalgia is obviously a word that's been brought up many times so far in these first few minutes of the podcast, but I think it's really incredible to also point out that Pixar was essentially the game changer for animation, because prior to Pixar, a lot of movies, most movies, if not all anime movies, were primarily done hand-drawn, but then Pixar was like, we're going to try doing computer-generated animation, and, this was a huge gamble. This was a huge risk. And look at how it's paid off. These movies continue to come out. They've been pumping out great work after many, many years. I want to go back to something that Larry said. While I will say that the consistency of Pixar pumping out great movies now isn't as strong as it was back in the early days, they still pump out really terrific films to the point where you're like, this is why we love Pixar, this is why we love animated films, and this is why we love going to the movies. There's a very special feeling whenever any of these Pixar movies come out, and they're funny, they're heartfelt, they're heartbreaking, they balance all these different emotions and tones. You get these incredible actors in the projects, and a lot of the great animated films or even films that we've received throughout our lifetime come from Pixar. So it's going to be really fun to get a sense of everyone's, feelings with Pixar as we draft all these movies and everything. But yeah, I'm very excited for this draft. I've been excited for this ever since we put on the docket that we were doing a Pixar draft, and yeah, I'm really excited. I love so many of these films. I marathoned a whole bunch of them over the last few weeks, some of which I had only seen once when they came out, and I revisited them all these years later and looked at them through a different lens. So yeah, I'm very excited. I cannot wait to draft these films. So shall we begin the draft?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
All right.
Go.
Nicole, you get to put the first film on the board. So what is going to be that film?
So much pressure. Okay.
Welcome to the draft.
This is scary. Okay, first one I'm nominating is Up.
Oh, what a
Big
good one to
doctor.
start off with.
Up was the first movie I ever saw in the theaters. I was 5 years old when it came out. My mom took me, but that was our tradition. My mom's a big movie person like I am, so she always took my sister and I on our 5th birthday. That was the thing when she first took us to the theater, and I remember seeing it in 3D. I still have the glasses and the cup from it from the kids' meal, and the power went out halfway through the movie, so we had to go back and see it another day. Saw it again a few days later, but that is definitely one of my core memories, and I still have the original movie ticket as well for it. It's pretty it's torn away now, but yeah, and that will always be something I remember for sure. And not
And
this
how
that
much
movie's
are you
bad.
going to put on the table for it? How much money?
I'm gonna go $250.
250. Big.
Yeah. Starting
Big
off
bid.
with a honker there.
Oh, this is tough. This is hard. This is an awesome movie. I just want to pose this conversation now, and I'm glad that Up was spitted this early in the pod and everything. I just want to say to the people listening to this, if you think the movie sucks after the opening, shut the fuck up. Like, genuinely, that's all I have to say to you, because the movie, yes, the opening is, like, on a whole other planet. Like, that
Yeah.
opening is
Yeah.
maybe the best scene that Pixar has ever put out. Obviously, that's up for discussion and everything. That's obviously subjective, but the rest of the movie is just so engrossing, and it's this really fun adventure, and then it's this commentary on, aging and mortality and finding your place in this world without the person who essentially was your person who gave you a sense of living. And this movie reminds you to keep on living even without that person in your life. And Mr. Fredricksen is one of the best Pixar characters ever, and I brought up before of how they get these incredible actors to bring their characters to life, and I think that Ed Asner as Carl is like top-notch casting. Like, he was this legend back in the day when our parents were children, and then now he's playing this older gentleman in a Pixar film, and I think that is one of the stronger entries in Pixar's catalog. And yeah, I adored the film. I'm not going to participate in this bid, but I am a big fan. I rewatched this, and my God, it's so good. Like, there's just so many lines and so many moments that have stuck with me throughout the years since seeing it. And I wrote on my letterbox, I've been putting quotes from these movies and everything, and I just think of the sequence where, spoiler alert, if you haven't seen the movie, that's your problem, but the whole exchange where he's like, sorry about your house, Mr. Fredricksen, and he's like, it was just a house. Oh, powerful stuff. And one of my favorite final shots in a Pixar film, too. Just a beautiful film. I love it so much. Larry and Veronica, are you going to partake in bidding on Up?
Well, I guess I should shut the fuck up because I don't really like this movie that much after the opening.
Oh!
I shouldn't say don't like. It's just not one of my favorites. I think the opening is like transcendent. Like, obviously could literally make anybody cry. It's beautiful. The Michael Giacchino score, unmatched. So it hits that high right off the bat, and from there, and also, it's probably an age difference thing. Like I said, as I just said, I was born in 1996, so I was about 10? No, older. I was like 13 when this came out. So I think it was probably at the point when I was, I don't know, maybe a bit more like, oh, I'm going to be discerning, or I'm going to be like, a little bit of, it just didn't grab me the way that Pixar movies had up until that point, because I was a child and it was the kind of thing where it can really imprint on you. So I don't know, this one sort of like bounced off me a little bit, beyond just liking the opening. I like the characters. I like in Disney, I like the giant Kevin costume that they have walking around. That's really cool. And so it's one that
snipe.
Yeah. It's one that, I remember it's all of the like the dog stuff and the balloon stuff, and I was just kind of like, yeah, it's good. It's just it's not top tier for me the way that it is for a lot of other people.
Yeah, I've had an interesting relationship with this movie in particular, because for a while I used to be the guy who was like, this ain't all that. Like I really, again, opening, great, easily one of the most culturally impactful Pixar things ever created. But I sort of was a little confused as to sort of what the construction of this movie is on like a world building level. It is a far more irreverent movie in terms of like its ensemble of characters and its world building and like the lore of it all. And so like I just didn't really connect with it on that level, like the talking dogs. Like it was just like, what is this? But I did a massive Pixar rewatch like a year or 2 years ago, and I found myself liking it a lot more on another viewing. And again, it's primarily because of those themes that Bryan was talking about. The ideas of mortality. Also this like found family dynamic with Mr. Fredricksen and God, what's the kid's name?
Russell.
Russell, thank you. I think that it's actually kind of an underrated element of this movie, that like the whole movie begins with the fact that Ellie and Carl can't have a child, and Russell sort of plays that role for them, for him specifically, as the movie goes on. It's a very charming movie, and the climax is sick. I can't deny it. But I'm not going to bid on this one because this is not in my personal four. I mostly just want to see Nicole lose $250 when she didn't have to. So I'm gonna let this lie.
Wow. Look at that, Nicole. Nobody bid on your film. It's all yours.
Listen, I'm happy with that. As long as I had Up, I was satisfied.
Yeah, enjoy it. Sometimes you have to fight for them, so.
All right, now it's Larry's turn. So what is the film that you're going to be drafting first? It's tough, right?
Do I go for the knockout early, or do I try to pick one that I don't think anybody else will take, and so maybe like you guys will use up all your money before I get them back to me? You know what? I am going to let's just get into the thick of it. I'm putting Inside Out into the pool.
Oh boy.
And I'm starting the bidding at $1. And because I want to see where you crazy people take this. Inside Out is, I think, maybe the greatest. I go back and forth on what my favorite Pixar movie is, like, every day. Like, there will never be one answer. I think there's like a group of 4 or 5 that sort of commingle in the same spot, and it just sort of goes back and forth. But Inside Out is definitely in that group. And I think part of the reason is that, conceptually speaking, it is probably their greatest achievement in terms of the allegorical storytelling that they go for. You know, I think everybody is first to sort of laugh about, like, what if feelings had feelings? Ha ha ha. You know, but it's obviously so much deeper than that. And I think that the way that the film teaches children about, you know, mental health and mental illness is just so deceptively engaging and emotional and brilliant. The scene where Joy is looking through the memories, and it's like the memory pit or whatever it's called. That is, I think, maybe the most devastating scene in a Pixar movie. I cried when I watched it in the movie theater for the first time, and this was around a time when I was not really much of a crier. Like, that scene, I think, hits in a way that very few other Pixar scenes hit. It's just, the voice cast is beautiful. Michael Giacchino's score is iconic. And again, I just think conceptually it was just such a stunning achievement. So go ahead. Raise me.
I will raise your bid to $50. This is, to me, probably my second favorite Pixar of the 2010s. It's right outside my top 5 Pixar. I loved this film from day one. I remember seeing it in the theater when it came out. I went with my mom. I remember very vividly. My mom is an easy crier. She cries to pretty much everything. Like Larry, I don't really cry a lot during movies. I get emotional very easily, but it's very hard for tears to come out of my eyes when I watch a movie, especially when I'm in a crowd of other people. Like, I don't like to cry in front of people, so I'm very particular of, like, when I let the waterworks ignite and everything. But that sequence that Larry brought up, yeah, I was a mess. And I've revisited this film a handful of times. Less than a year ago, my last podcast, which was all about coming-of-age films, I had Nicole on to talk about Inside Out, which was one of my favorite podcast experiences ever, just getting to talk about that beautiful film and the coming-of-age angle of it all and everything. But I think it's so beautiful, and it's so moving, and it's also, like with all these Pixar movies, like, yeah, they can make you cry, but they're also so absurdly funny. This movie is so hilarious. There's so many things that happen in this movie that, for some reason, just make me guffaw. Everything with Anger, Lewis Black, phenomenal performance, just truly genius work from him. Everybody is outstanding. Gotta mention Bing Bong, what a character. Richard Kind, one of the great character actors ever, and just like, oh my God, what a force of nature. But yeah, this movie is so beautiful, and it's, I like the idea of having a movie where children could watch emotions, having their feelings, and kind of giving them a teaching lesson of what it means to emote and express these feelings and be placed in a situation like this. And I think that Riley is one of the most fascinating human characters that Pixar has ever written. So I'm a big fan of Inside Out. I love this movie, and I think it's very, very cool how we talked about this story of running into Pete Docter, and the first 2 movies that we put on the board are directed by Pete Docter.
And they will not be the last. I have a strong inclination about that.
Completely agree. So, yeah, my bid is going to be $50. Ladies?
I will raise that to 75 and say, yeah, I totally agree with everything that you guys have said. Definitely saw this when it came out, loved it, and you're right, it is a big, conceptual swing to do this, what if feelings had feelings thing. But the way that they construct the world, it totally works. They make everything kind of tangible, even though you're talking about these abstract concepts. And the idea of, I think this was talked about recently on like film Twitter and stuff, but like they created the idea of like a core memory, and that's something that like people just refer to in everyday life. Like the iconography of that is kind of really, really sticky. And yeah, just the way that it turns into, ultimately a story of like acceptance, and that we have all of these emotions. We have they're good and they're bad, but they all sort of serve a purpose and need to coexist together. And the way that Riley can like accept her new life, living in a different city, and kind of talk to her parents about that, and they'll be like, yeah, we're sad too, we miss our old home, but like we also have this. And like just the way of dealing with especially for something that is geared towards kids, and then sort of grew with Pixar kids as they grew up, like the idea that like, yeah, you're growing up, you need to accept some amount of something that's uncomfortable, something that's unpleasant in your life, and like learn how to work through that and move on. And in addition to creating just a great handful of characters that are so entertaining, great voice cast, all of that. So yeah, 75 for me.
Cool. I am going to raise the bid to 90. I love this movie. Like Brian said, we did our podcast together, or your podcast together, about it, talking about the movie. When it came out, I believe it was 2015, Inside Out came out. Mm-hmm. I was 11, so I feel like I was right at that age where I was relating to Riley so strongly of the specific emotions she was going through at that time in her life as a preteen. But like we've all said, you relate to it at any stage in your life, because you never stop growing up and you never stop facing new emotions and new experiences, and just the idea of learning how to feel joy, anger, sadness, and relearning these emotions through different various stages in your life and what you're going through at that time, I think is something you'll never stop relating to. And I think it was just so beautifully done. Like, to reiterate everything you've said, just the cast and the core memories, like Veronica was saying, one of my favorite things about that is thinking about your own core memories. And I remember watching the movie for the first time and rewatching it and thinking, what would those be for myself? And I think that is such a beautiful idea, and just such a well done movie.
Yeah, it's just one of Pixar's crown achievements, truly. And I think Veronica brought this up to where, like, we watch these movies when they come out and we're obviously a lot younger and everything, and then when we revisit them, we're like, is this going to hold up very well compared to how it was the first time? And I think that this is a film that has gotten better and better for me as the years have gone on, and I've started to, like, understand myself and my emotions. And even though our protagonist is a child, it's such a universal story that anyone could relate to. And I'd be really interested to revisit this film down the road when I'm eventually a parent and see it from that lens and everything. Because when I watched it with my mother and everything, we were talking about how, like, I looked at it from Riley's perspective, and then she was looking at it from the parents' perspective and given her perception of what it was like when me and my sister were around the same age as Riley, and us expressing our emotions, the struggles with it, the fears of it, the happiness of it. And I always think back to that moment towards the end where, sadness is finally embraced, and then Riley just lets out all the emotions. And to me, that is like top 2 saddest Pixar scenes ever.
Okay, like, but it's supposed to be a happy. It's also
it is,
supposed to be a happy scene.
But it like makes me cry. I don't know why. I'm like, why am I
joy
crying?
And sadness.
Yeah, it's cathartic.
I know.
It's everything.
It's so good though. It's just so. Oh, it's so brilliant.
I completely agree with you. Yeah,
it's so brilliant, and I also love that a lot of the films that we talk about today have won Oscars for animated feature and everything. I think it's so cool how this was nominated for screenplay, because anime films never get nominated for screenplay, and the fact that this made it into that lineup is so inspiring to me.
I mean, basically, except for Pixar. Pixar's the only company, the animation studio, that gets nominated for screenplay, because that got nominated. I think WALL-E also got nominated.
Ratatouille got nominated.
Toy Story 3, maybe?
Toy Story 1 and 3 got nominated.
Yes, okay. There you go.
Finding Nemo got nominated. A handful of them got nominated.
Yes.
But I think this was the last one to get nominated.
Yes.
What was the last bid?
Nicole raised it to 90.
Is anyone going to raise the bid?
I'll gladly raise it to 91. I'm not sitting here letting this movie go at 90.
It being under $100 is crazy.
Go ahead.
I'll jump to 200. I would
200?
not mind having this on my list. Yeah.
Veronica. Okay, 201.
What is everyone's favorite emotion in this movie?
Oh, fear. 100%.
Bill Hader, phenomenal work.
Yeah.
We
He's hard to
lost.
beat.
We lost a goat when he did not come back for the sequel.
Same with Mindy Kaling. As
Same with Mindy
discussed.
Kaling.
Yeah.
But I felt Hader's absence especially. No, what's the name of the guy who took over?
Tony Hale.
Tony Hale's great. I love Tony
It's
Hale.
like, why are
but-
we casting the guy who plays Forky to play?
Yeah, it's not
It's
the
like,
same.
why are we doing that?
Not quite the same.
Not
juice,
quite the same. I always, every time I watch a TV show and I hate where it's going, I'm just like Fear, where I'm like, boo, pick a different plot line.
One of the best lines in that movie. Absolutely fantastic.
So good. 200.
I'm at 20. I said 201.
Yeah, Larry said 201.
Yeah,
I'll
I'm
go
gonna.
202.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna pass on this. I'm gonna let you three duke it out.
Okay, 203.
Come on, raise it up higher.
I am keeping as many dollars as I possibly can.
Yeah, I'll jump it to 215, but I don't know if I'm gonna go much more than that. Anybody?
Bueller.
216.
Oh my god.
Nicole?
I'll go 220.
221.
Come on, Larry, put some more oomph in it.
This is strategy, guys. This is how you play the game.
222.
223. I need a paddle. Where's my paddle?
Between you two,
Where's
because I
Marty
don't want to
Supreme when you
spend.
need him?
Yeah.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, no, for real.
225.
226.
Veronica.
I don't want to spend a quarter of my budget
No,
on it.
yeah,
so
I think
you
she's
can,
already out.
Yeah, you guys can take it.
So what was the last number you said?
Did I say 220?
I think you said 225.
Well, then I said 226. I think.
Right.
Okay, 226.
Just assume that's always the next dollar.
Is Nicole really going to take the first two films on the board?
228.
230.
231.
232.
233.
Oh my god.
234. Let's keep going. I'm eyeing it down.
240.
242.
Ooh, big jump.
244.
Oh, 245. It's starting to feel like pins now.
247.
All right, fine. Fine. 250. 250. And that's my final number. If you're gonna raise me on that,
251.
oh no! Wait.
If Nicole gets this film, that means half of her budget is already gone.
252.
It'd be half her budget, but she's got half her list complete. So
That's true.
It's a.
I'll go
what you want.
253.
255. I'm not letting you have this one. I actually do need this one. This is my one. So 255.
256.
Come on, Larry. You show
Yeah.
how much you want this movie.
Yes, but I don't know if my budget allows for much more than that. What is this now at? 250. What is it again?
256. Yeah.
256. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna go 260 because I am gonna reroute my strategy now. So I'm gonna go 260.
Ooh. I'll let you have it.
Okay,
There we go.
Wow.
260. To be fair,
nail
not much
biter.
higher. Not much higher than what my max was on it. But you know what? I played a good game on there.
That was
There we
good.
go.
Very good.
That I needed that one. But I have a few. I have ways to come back. I have some ways to come back.
That was auctioning at its finest.
But you see why I start at $1
Yeah.
because you need to
Let everyone
bring
else do the
everyone
work.
out. Yeah, you need to let people do some work here.
Okay. Now we're to me. Am I gonna go with a Pete Docter film as well, or am I gonna?
Yo, that would be crazy.
Spice it
though.
up.
That would be actually insane if we drafted the Pete Docter 3 first.
And then Veronica also traps the remaining Pete Doctor.
That would be wild.
That'd be funny. It'd be a nice stick. Okay. I'm going to start the bid for this. I'm going to start it. Do I want to go high or do I want to? I'll start it off low to get the conversation going. For $100, I'm going to put on the table Ratatouille.
Okay.
Ratatouille, up until last week, was maybe my 6th or 7th favorite Pixar film. And then I rewatched it, and then jumped all the way up to number 1.
That's
And I don't-
crazy,
Wow.
dog.
That has never, ever, ever happened before where something has jumped up that high on a list of ranked stuff for me, ever. And this movie, from day one, has been pretty much my world. I love this movie. I love movies about cooking. I can't cook myself. I know the saying, anyone could cook, but I can't cook for my life. But for some reason, this movie motivates me in doing the things that I want to do. And it's incredible when you watch a movie about a rat who loves to cook and him trying to meet that goal and follow that dream. And for some reason, it's so riveting and it's so compelling and it's so moving and it's hilarious. Patton Oswalt, an actor who admittedly hasn't done a lot of things that I've cared for. He's awesome as Remy. That's like a genius casting. His voice is just so perfect for that role. And also, it would have been remiss of me to not draft this because throughout my entire life, people have said that I look like Linguini because when my hair is very long, it's very, very, very curly. Years ago, there was this tweet I saw on Twitter where someone said me versus animated me. And they put Colette from Ratatouille. And I'm like, let me do the Linguini thing. And that was the best tweet I've ever written in my entire life, quite frankly.
You didn't write it. You didn't even write it.
It was the best tweet that I tweeted, okay? let me clarify.
The best tweet I ever tweeted was a prompt.
And, you know, this is our first talk about Brad Bird, who's also a staple of Pixar, but also animation in general. And, you know, when I have the conversation with people about what Brad Bird's best work is, and obviously he has another Pixar film that will likely be on the draft today and everything. To me, this is the one that I think about right away. To me, this is his magnum opus. This is the one that resonates with me the most, the one I gravitate towards. And I just think that it is such a lovely, endearing, wholesome film with a lot of great comedy, a lot of great performances. Yeah, I just think it's outstanding. And the ending is wonderful, too. That whole monologue by whatever the food crit's
Anton
name.
Ego.
Yeah,
Anton
Anton Ego. And voiced by the legendary Peter O'Toole. And
Legendary.
I love this movie with every fiber of my being. And $100.
All right.
Which I feel like is so low for this movie, quite frankly.
Either of you gonna throw a bid in the ring?
I am gonna pass on this one. I think I've only seen Ratatouille like 2 or 3 times when I was much younger. I have not seen it in quite a while, so I am definitely due for a rewatch. But Ratatouille was never one I felt very emotionally connected to, which maybe is why I need to rewatch it. But it was never like a fan favorite for me. But it's still great, and I think it is so cute. But yeah, I'm gonna pass on this one.
I also really love it. It's in my upper tier, though not like top tier. I really, you called out some of the voice cast. I really love Brian Dennehy as Remy's dad, and I like Brad Garrett as Gusteau, the one that he's sort of idolizing.
Yeah. And can't forget Will Arnett as one of the chefs. I kill a man with this thumb.
I forget that that's Will Arnett.
when I went to go see Is This Thing On at the New York Film Festival, and he was feeding in front of me, of course, like the things that I thought of right away were like the Smartless podcast, Arrested Development, Hot Rod, where he's screaming "Babe" and Lego Batman. But then after I left the theater, I was talking with my friend who came with me, and I'm like, it just hit me that he was in Ratatouille.
he has so much range.
He's incredible.
Yeah,
I
he's a
love
great
him very
voice actor.
much.
BoJack Horseman mostly is my favorite.
BoJack
from him,
Horseman,
but-
of course. Yeah, can't forget that.
Yeah, but yeah, it's a great movie. And, you know, Brian, you said, like, you love it even though you don't love to cook at all or anything. It's really about, you know, it's about following your dreams. It's about finding your passion and something that you can care about and try to, you know, dedicate some part of your life to and do with the people around you. And we should call out just, again, talking about iconography, like the pulling his hair and making him cook, like that is literally memorialized in a Best Picture winner in Raccacoonie. And it's just something that's so, like, it's so endemic now. It's something that anyone can recognize. Like it makes literally no sense, but like that's the point. It's fun and it kind of feels right, even though it doesn't make sense. So yeah, it's very very iconic for that. But I will not place a bid for this one. I will let you have it, Brian, unless Larry wants to challenge you.
How wild is it that Everything Everywhere All at Once has Best Picture, but Ratatouille does not, and it has the Raccacoonie joke, which is so obviously like a Ratatouille bit.
I should retroactively.
I
give
feel
it to
like we need to
Ratatouille.
go back in time and like rewire a couple things. I'll bid you up to 150. I don't want you to take this for 100. I think that's a little crazy.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, this is the most popular Pixar film on Letterboxd, I think.
That I didn't realize. I didn't know that.
I believe it is. I think that this movie.
Letterbox users are very smart. Then
They are. I mean, I believe Letterboxd is a better aggregate than most other aggregates that are out there. And yeah, I think that this movie, like, I think that for people of like of a certain age, Finding Nemo was like the substitute movie. Like, I don't want to teach. We're just going to watch a movie, and they would put on Finding Nemo.
I know exactly what you mean. Yeah.
For a different subset of people, Ratatouille was that movie. I actually know for a fact that French teachers at my school would play this movie in French so that kids could learn French because they had seen this movie most likely and they wanted to teach French, and that's how they did it.
I had to watch Finding Nemo in my 7th grade Spanish class, and I'll never forget that. And I knew what they were saying because I had seen the movie like so many times and everything, but it was funny hearing certain lines like "just keep swimming" and like whoever did the Spanish voice for Dory, 10 out of 10, give them a raise. Like, oh my god.
Underrated way to teach people foreign languages: watch Pixar films. But yeah, I love it. Look, I love the movie. I think it's great. For all the reasons that you said and more. I don't know if it's like one of my personal. I don't think it's one of my like upper tier movies. Just because I do think that there are some pacing issues to the second to third half that still throw me off every time I watch it. But I'm not letting you get away with it for 100. So I'm gonna put it for 150.
Okay, I'm gonna go up to 250 for this.
Oh
That's
my
how much
God.
that's how much I love this movie.
I am so gone, dude. I am
Turn you
so
off.
done.
And you know, this is a very random thing. This happens every single time. Every fucking time I go to New York City and I'm riding the subway and I see a rat, I shit you not. Every time I'm just minding my own business and in my head, that song starts playing. Oh
my God.
Every
Stop,
time
stop,
I see a
stop.
fucking rat, like most people would be terrified, and yeah, I'm terrified too. But like one time I saw one holding a slice of cheese, and I was like, yeah, this is Ratatouille live action.
Should have thrown a
Cannon.
strawberry at him.
I was gonna say you should get him under a glass jar and start a movie, dude.
Don't look at me like that.
Hey, little guy. Hey, little chef. That's little chef.
Little chef.
Oh, but I'm totally out now. I got what I wanted out of you, so
I
we're
think
done.
you can have it, Brian.
Hell yeah,
Yeah.
Ratatouille, baby.
We're done. See, this is the thing, though. I wanted to challenge you on it because Ratatouille is a draft winning pick. Lots of people will look at the draft and be like, Ratatouille, that gets my vote.
Yeah, Remy's got shooters. He's got his fans out there.
He does indeed.
Yes,
He does indeed.
100%.
And you know, again, just going back to the line deliveries, there's just random line deliveries that may not necessarily be funny, but it's because of how they're spoken are really, really funny. When what's the villain chef name? What's his name? I just watched this movie last week and I forgot his name already. The main villain, the chef of the kitchen. Skinner, yeah. Voiced by
Yeah.
Ian Holm, Bilbo Baggins, which is great casting.
Wild.
I love when he's on the roof and he discovers that Remy's doing all this and he's just like, the rat is the cook. I don't know why I love it so much. So good. So good. And also shout out Janine Garofalo, who I think
Yes.
Veronica brought up on a recent draft when we were drafted. I forgot what movie we were talking about, but I think Veronica brought her up, and yeah, she's great in this. She's
Wet
so
Hot
good.
American
Everyone's
Summer,
great in
probably.
this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would also say yes, of course. Shout out to, oh God, I'm forgetting the name of the song, but that song, which is great. But also the like that.
Giacchino, like his music is just unbeatable.
Giacchino, one of the greatest living composers, and I don't
Yeah.
think that's an exaggeration.
There's a reason why he's composed a lot of these Pixar movies, and now he's a favorite with the MCU, and
Yeah.
he's done a handful of other projects and everything. He's I think one of our more underappreciated composers. Like, yes, he's no John Williams, but he doesn't have to be a John Williams to be appreciated.
I don't know, brother. Some of those scores he's composed, I think, rival Williams' work. At least for me. I mean, not to say that I don't think everybody can hum a Giacchino score per se, but I think overall the days of the hummable film score are kind of over. So with knowing that already, I think Giacchino is just one of the top 10 greatest living
Yeah,
composers.
his Star Trek music, the score for the Batman,
Yeah.
his
Star
Rogue One
Trek.
score is
Star
great
Trek's my
too.
favorite. Yeah.
Rogue One, Star Trek, Planet of the Apes, even what didn't he direct? Werewolf by Night, like that
He
MCU
did, yes.
short.
Yes, he
that
did.
was great. I mean, and all the Pixar movies he's done, we're probably gonna draft another one that he has composed. It might be his best score. We'll see. He's incredible.
He's incredible, as are the 3 movies that we have drafted so far. So now, Veronica, you get to put 2 films on the table. So what is going to be the first film? Are you going to go with a Pete Docter film, or are you going to continue the streak and go with a Brad Bird film?
Yeah, I think we went Pete Docter, so I think we should go Brad Bird. I'm gonna throw out for, let's say, $50, The Incredibles.
There it is.
I would have to say, well, I don't want to give, it's not too great of a poker face for anyone trying to outbid me, but I think this is my number one, pretty much. I've always loved this movie. It's something that my whole family loved. It's got that retro future aesthetic that Brad Bird does really well. It's my family always loved The Iron Giant, and then I think we were like all excited for this because it was going to be the same director and everything. And once again, Giacchino here with like a fantastic score. I have never been into James Bond movies that much, so literally anytime I hear a James Bond score, I'm like, that's just like, it sounds like The Incredibles, Obviously, it's the other way around. The Incredibles is trying to sound like James Bond, but it just accomplishes it perfectly. It does that sort of thing that where it can parody a genre a little bit. It's doing that sort of like a spy thriller, and then it's doing the superhero genre, but it's just taking like the best of those worlds and putting it into a genuine story. It's not just a parody. It's can easily be considered the best Fantastic Four movie that has ever been made, because we get those differing powers, we get this family dynamic of people who love each other and care about each other. Everyone's personality is so clear, and they go on a journey. They change throughout the events of the film. It gets dark at times. It's again about Violet and Dash having to grow up a little bit, having to take on that responsibility. Parents learning to be better parents and a better couple with each other. I mean, it just really has it all. And yeah, this is one of my favorites. So I will throw it out there for 50.
Fine. Yeah, this is definitely in my upper echelon as well. Yeah, I mean, what else is there to say that hasn't already been said? I mean, I think this was maybe like, I don't know, Pixar films have always dealt with, very adult themes, sort of in the bedrock of the movies. Finding Nemo is in many ways about the loss of a child and, what that does to a parent. But something about The Incredibles and the politics behind The Incredibles and what it evokes politically with the plot of the superheroes and them sort of being this like, this minority that experiences discrimination. It's a very It's a super interesting approach that was never, I mean, not to say that it's never been taken in a movie before, but it was certainly the first time that I think kids were exposed to that kind of superhero storyline. And I think it was very impactful as a result. Yeah, beautiful writing. The animation has aged a little bit. You know, I do think Pixar's gotten better at their humans, but it's hard to complain when, you know, the powers are so good. Villain, Syndrome, one of the best villains in Pixar. It's like Anton Ego and Syndrome for me are like neck and neck as like best Pixar villains. And yeah, man, it's just a thrilling movie from start to finish. So I will increase the bid up to 100.
Bryan or Nicole?
This one is so. Some of my favorite characters from this movie are Edna and Jack Jack. I love those two.
Oh, yeah.
Edna's so funny. Just the haircut is iconic at herself, but Jack's little puff of hair too. But this, like you both said, there are so many themes in this movie, and I think another one, I mean, most Pixar films do, but like you mentioned, there's the kids and their parents, and there's really lessons for everyone to be learned in this movie, which I appreciate. I'm going to pass on this one. I do love this one a lot, but it's not on my upper ones, but it is definitely a fantastic Pixar film that I think a lot of people really, really love.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat as Nicole. It's fantastic. It's definitely a 5-star movie in my heart, but it's not top 5 Pixar for me. And, you know, this came out at a very interesting point where superhero films were starting to become much more of a big deal. We had already had X-Men, Spider-Man, and this was the year right before Batman Begins came out and all these other superhero movies. This was obviously years before the MCU came to fruition. So it was really cool seeing a movie about a legit superhero family on screen and all the themes that are explored about family and finding yourself. And I love it. It's great. And Syndrome is an all-timer villain, certainly up there for Pixar's strongest villains. And, you know, I never thought that Jason Lee would be the kind of guy whose performance I was so wowed by, but he is unbelievable in this movie. And it just comes to show, too, that Brad Bird is one of those directors that gets so much out of his actors through his animated work. And it's really hard to do a great performance through animation. You're doing so much with your voice. And I think one of the great things about a majority of the films that we're talking about today, these actors who are obviously, a majority of them are very well established and everything, and you're wondering like, oh, why do they get to be in these animated films instead of these seasoned veteran voice actors? But you forget that you're watching someone like Craig T. Nelson, who is obviously so versatile in the film and TV world, and then Holly Hunter, of course, like she's another actress who is so well versed in the film and television world, and both of them are just unbelievable. Then Samuel L. Jackson, of course, is Frozone, which is like the most tailor-made casting Pixar has ever done. Like you look at Frozone, you're like, well, obviously Samuel L. Jackson's got to play him, and though it's really great. I love it, and yeah, Edna Mole, voiced by Brad Bird, which is absolutely wild to me.
Legend, yeah.
Like that is insane. When I found that out many years into my life, I was like, that first of all, that was a man doing the voice? What? And it was the director of the movie doing it? That's incredible. That's so cool.
What? And I think that was like not the plan, right? I think he was just doing it like temporarily, and then they were kind of like, this works.
if that's the case, I'm glad he stuck with doing the voice. What are you talking about? You are Elastigirl. Oh my God, put yourself together.
No capes. Iconic. Yeah, he probably did the temp voice, but they thought it was so funny that they were just like, let's save money and make you do it.
It's genius. I don't want to spoil anything. I don't know if the sequel is going to get drafted at some point today, but I just want to bring up that when I rewatched it, I love the whole interaction with her and Bob, where Bob like questions the suit, and then she's like, "It means fire, Robert."
So good. Yeah,
it's so good. All
Oh
right, so yeah, I'm gonna pass on this bid. So it's between Larry and Veronica.
Okay. Yeah, and you mentioned I also love Jason Lee as Syndrome. I think he's so good, and this is another like concept that I feel like this introduced. I think this was the first time I remember them talking about like the villain monologuing, and like the fact that again that's where it's kind of a satire of things like this, where it's like as soon as you know that the villain is gearing up to like give a nice big monologue before they kill your hero or whatever. It's just little tropes like that are so funny, while also just fully doing the thing and being a really good superhero movie. So yeah, I think the bid was brought to 100.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll jump it to 150.
200.
Okay, 225.
230.
250.
All right, and I'm good.
Great.
I'll renege.
My God. And I had the DVD of this, and it had little were they little videos or something where, you know, when Mr. Incredible's like clicking through all of the past heroes who have like been eliminated and stuff, it had little like bios on them and little videos about, I remember like learning all about, you know, Gazer Beam and I don't remember who the rest of them were, but yeah. This
Bring
is just
back
like a fun
DVD
world.
special features.
Oh my God, yeah.
Man. Like,
so many good ones.
when we did that draft, that sequels draft a while back, and we brought up Shrek 2 and how they had Far, Far Away Idol, like,
Yep.
that was just like, you know, they just don't do things like that anymore, which is really sad.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. All right, so I get my next draft. I'm picking between a few here. I'm like, there are some that are neck and neck. I kind of feel like I want to go with the lesser of my top tier, if that makes sense, because then if I don't end up with it, I'll let everyone else waste their money a bit, you know? Let's see. So, yeah, let me go ahead and nominate... I guess I'll stick with $50. I think that's a good rule of thumb. I'll go ahead and nominate Finding Nemo here, which is, for some reason, I don't remember this being like a huge one when it first came out. I don't know, I definitely saw it, definitely loved it, but I think it was actually one that I watched maybe a few years ago when I was like a young teenager or something, and like, you know, kind of locked back into in a way that, you know, doesn't always happen when you're a little bit older. So yeah, Finding Nemo, I really love it. I mean, this is going to be said for everything, but amazing voice cast. Great. I love the animation. Very funny. Yeah, this one is like I said, maybe the lower end of my upper tier. So see if anyone else is going to take a bite after my $50 bid.
This is the second film that we're mentioning today with an actor from Veronica's dearly beloved Broadcast News.
Yes.
Which
there
is
you go.
crazy to even say. I'll raise the bid to $75. It's a great movie. It's fantastic. I do remember seeing this in the theater as well, and I was terrified. I will never forget that. I remember I went with my parents and my sister, and I think I like hid underneath like my dad's arm. Like, I was so terrified, especially that opening. That opening like,
is scary.
the opening still to this day, as someone who is almost 30, that opening is fucking haunted. That is a legit petrifying opening for a movie that is aimed for families, and it's like, oh, well, they didn't shy away from the darkness that unfolds with stuff like this, but it's so good. It's a great adventure about a father trying to get his son. The voice cast you brought up is outstanding. Albert Brooks is perfect as Marlin. You could say what you want about Ellen as a person, but you cannot take away the work that she brought as Dory and how outstanding it is, providing excellent comic relief. And just the thrill of this movie and just going on these adventures and meeting all these characters and everything and learning their stories and everything. It makes for a really compelling story, and I really love the world that Andrew Stanton built in this, with underwater going from one side to another, and I also love the Australia setting of it all as well. So yeah, it's a fantastic movie. It's one that has, similar to pretty much every film that we've drafted so far, has aged much better for me as the years have gone by. So yeah, Finding Nemo is a fantastic film. It's really outstanding, and yeah, it's great. 75.
Yeah, I mean, let's bump it up to 100. I think it was a recent rewatch, like maybe 2 years or so ago, maybe, that solidified this as like one of my personal favorites. It's definitely up there for me. I think the story, Marlin's arc, is sort of like, you know, I think a lot about how the Pixar films, especially in the earlier period, are all in some way, shape, or form kind of about fatherhood. Like, almost all of them are, and it's because it's all a bunch of dads, dude. All of the main Pixar big dudes were dads, right? Like Lasseter, Stanton, Doctor. I'm forgetting the name of the director of Cars, but he was also, I know, one of the formative...
I think John Lasseter directed Cars.
John Lasseter directed Cars, but there was another There was another
Lee Ungerich. Did you bring him up?
No, but he wasn't one. There was a guy. I don't remember his name. He's unfortunately no longer with us. But he was. Joe Ranft, maybe was his name.
Yeah,
he was he was sort of one of those OG Pixar people as well. And I think this is the first movie that really crystallized like what fatherhood meant to these men. And for them to make a movie that was willing to go to such dark places, like what you said, Brian, like I truly can't imagine a movie like Finding Nemo being made today in the way that it's made, like as you watch it. Like that opening scene, I just don't think you would have gotten away with it. And I think it was because, Pixar, there's a lot to be said about what happened with Pixar after Disney, purchased them. And while I don't necessarily think it was completely, net negative, I do think that them not being under Disney's thumb gave them the freedom to, really explore the storytelling, be unafraid to challenge the audience in a significant way. And in a lot of ways, Finding Nemo feels like that to me. There's obviously a lot of comic relief, but there's also a lot of really quiet, beautiful, heartfelt moments where it's just the characters just sort of ruminating on their struggles, their hopes, their desires. And I think that Albert Brooks low-key gives one of the best Pixar voice acting performances ever as Marlin. And I also think, Sydney is such a weird place to put a movie like this, but it's perfect, and they capture it with such authenticity. I'm definitely in the running for this. I'm gonna throw this up to 100.
Yeah, I'll throw it up to 115. I love this movie. It's was always one of my favorites as a kid, and even revisiting now, obviously it holds up very well. I've always loved how they used color in this movie, which is obviously so important, bringing the ocean to life, but just with the array of ocean life and how they bring Sydney to life too, I've always appreciated that about it. Like you've all talked about the different themes of grief, found family, actual family, and growing up, how family dynamics change as you grow up and between parent and kid. I think that is all beautifully explored. I was in Sydney last year, and it's so funny how obviously when they show P. Sherman 42 Wallaby Way, not a real place obviously, but they have so many stickers and t-shirts. They really they really go all out for that. But I really love this movie. So yeah, 115.
I want a shirt. I want a P. Sherman shirt.
I almost got one. I felt like I had to, but I passed.
Now I need to go. I've always wanted to go to Australia and do like a tour of Australia, but I feel like that would. It's like how I have a Pizza Planet shirt, and I take a lot of pride in that. I need the P. Sherman 42 Wallaby Way Sydney shirt.
I love merch that is like of the world of the movie or something,
Yes.
I will go ahead and raise it to 150, and I think it's a travesty that we have not mentioned yet how hot the fish that Willem Dafoe voices is. I think that needs to be said. I think that needs to be on the record.
Jesus Christ.
Because that's going to garner a lot of votes.
Hey, Veronica, you know what? Let's play a little game, right? How old do you think Gil is? If Gil was a human being, how old do you think Gil would be? Yeah. No, if Gil, you think he's so hot, huh? What age is Gil, Veronica?
Is he underage?
No, he's not underage, Veronica. Jesus Christ. He's voiced by Willem freaking Dafoe, for Christ's sake. I
thought you meant
curious.
like in fish years.
Yeah, what age do you think Gil is?
I think he's ageless. I don't think it matters.
All right. Solid cop out. Just if you're gonna call a fish hot, we have to dive deep. We have to dig in a little bit into the psychology of this.
Well, it's like, those cakes you see on TikTok, people making those cakes. I forgot what they call it, but it's like what?
Yes, the hear me out cake.
Hear me out cakes.
He's made many appearances on those. It's not just
me out. Gil is fucking hot.
I think you just like a guy with some scars, Veronica.
I mean, I like Willem Dafoe too, so it's not that far a stretch.
That man probably has some scars that we have not seen. Let me freaking tell you, dude. He's got the voice to prove it.
So yeah, 150 for my man Gil.
I'll go up 160. We brought up a lot of the more poignant moments and everything, and I think that one of the more beautiful moments of this movie, and when people think of the character of Dory, they think of her as the comic relief, which yes, she absolutely is the comedic force of this entire story, but it's also the more quieter moments that make me really connect with that character. After they fail to rescue Nemo, later on in the movie and everything, and she's like, don't leave me. When I'm with you, it's easy for me to remember things, and I feel at home. And Nicole brought up, found family and everything, and, as we learn later on in the film that follows up this and everything, like, Dory doesn't really have anybody in her life, and she felt like she finally found that person to share something with in Marlon, platonically, of course. And I think that it is a beautiful dynamic and a beautiful relationship. But also, again, like with every single one of these movies that we've drafted, this movie is so fucking funny. And I don't know how, it is, but it just is. There's so many great moments. The whole P. Sherman 42 Wallaby Way singing, that whole sequence where Dory remembers it, and it's the quick flashes. It's so funny to me. I don't know why. It's so good. You were dead. I saw you. And your father. Your father!
I think you just gave out a spit there while you were giving that one out.
I'm very passionate when it comes to quoting things.
I also quote regularly the wahoo wahi ha ho 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 wahoo wahi ha ho 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 scene, which is great. I'll also point out that this movie actually has one of my favorite Pixar lines in it, which is when they're in the whale, and he said, "I promise I'd never let anything happen to him." Dory's like, "That's a funny thing to promise." Ron's like, "What do you mean?" Dory goes, "Well, you can't never let anything happen to him, then nothing would ever happen to him." And I think that that's a really just Pixar has this way of taking those very quotidian kind of sentiments that we all have and just flipping them on us and making us all have this, revelatory moment.
Yeah.
What are we at? 160? 175.
I'll go 200. I haven't brought up Darla yet, and I think Darla might be the most frustrating Pixar character there is. But also, she comes in with her big braces and headgear,
and the psycho theme is underneath it. Oh, so clever.
Oh, so yeah, it was so funny. I'll go 200.
I'm a piranha. They're from the Amazon.
And she's shaking the bag.
Yeah.
I'll jump into 215.
I'm out.
Anybody else? You're out?
I'll go 225.
Okay. Larry?
230.
Okay. I'll let you guys duke it out. Like I said, this is
Wow. Okay. Fine.
I'll go 240.
241.
Oh, jeez, not this again.
242.
243. Let's go. Let's go.
I should have raised
Try
it to
me.
500.
Try me. You think you can play this game? You think I can't play this game? I invented this game.
250.
Oh God. I'm trying to do math in my head now. 255.
260.
Oh, this is because I took Inside Out from you.
We've kept it very even so far. Pretty much everything has gone for around this.
I know,
so.
but I'm struggling because am I really going to pay more for this than Inside Out? And I am unfortunately, I think that I am. And I'm going to say 265.
266.
267.
270.
271.
272.
All right, Nicole, let's talk. How much are you going to bid on this? Let's be honest. Just talk. Just tell me.
Brass tacks.
Brass tacks.
What are you going to?
What did you just say? 272?
Yeah.
275.
I'll go 280.
All right. Get the fuck out of here, man. Get the fuck out of here.
Is that sold?
Wait, whoa,
Okay.
Veronica, don't rush the masters at work. See, I have a feeling that the rest of the films that I want on my 4 are not going to be bid on in a particularly lengthy way. So I am going to say 300.
Ooh. I'll go 305.
All right, no, I'm out. You can't be taking. You can't be taking more than 300 from me. But you better watch yourself, Nicole, because for some of these, I'm gonna have to go hard now on some of these.
All right.
Veronica and Bryan, you also better be scared, man, because those $300 are going to be going somewhere, and it's not going to be pretty.
You got burning a hole in your pocket right now.
Yeah. But hey, I got Nicole to drop over 300, and that's a pretty good. That's pretty good.
So Nicole has gotten Finding Nemo for $305. Very nice scoop. Okay. Now we're back to me, and I think it's time that we talk about the franchise that kicked off this entire studio. The question becomes, what film do I draft?
Yep.
That's the tough one, and I'm still deciding which one to go with because, to me, all four. Unfortunately, we cannot draft Toy Story 5. At the time of this recording, I have seen Toy Story 5, but because the rest of the people on here have not seen it, we're not going to put it on the board. But all the other Toy Story movies, to me, are fucking great. And I don't know which one to go with. I have to be smart. I have to think about which one is going to get a lot of votes. But I also have to be mindful to myself and go with the one that I feel that I gravitate towards the most. So my starting bid, I'm going to start the bid at $200, and I am going to go with Toy Story 3.
Wow. Okay.
To me,
the culminating chapter.
The culminating chapter. Now, obviously, we have gotten more Toy Story movies following this, but when this came out, I was 12 years old, so I wasn't anywhere close to the age that Andy was in this movie. But it felt like I was saying goodbye to a particular chapter of my life that I'm like, oh my God, we may never get to see these characters ever again. Andy saying goodbye to the toys is basically like us saying goodbye to these toys. I think that this is the perfect definition of a threequel. This movie is absolutely outstanding across the board in every single department. What you love so much about the first two Toy Story movies is present here. It takes it to whole new heights. We go outside. We go to a brand new location. We're in this daycare. We meet all these different characters. We learn their backstories. We're so captivated by what's happening on screen. We're laughing. We're hooting and hollering. We're terrified for our life. And we're also crying our eyes out. And this movie, like with the other two Toy Story movies that preceded this, it's a reminder of how universal it is, to where we have something that is so special to us that while we know that at some point we have to let it go, we're struggling to let that go. And what I really love about this Toy Story OG trilogy is that, and I realized this, that when I rewatched these movies before this draft / before I saw Toy Story 5, I picked up on what these three films are about. The first film is about learning how to share love. The second movie is about learning to love even though you know it might hurt you one day. And this one is about learning when it's time to let go. And the fact that you could get that in a movie that's aimed for families is so amazing to me, because we've talked about this many times. When you look at the current state of animation or films that are made for families or for children and everything, they don't tackle these themes. We obviously get a handful of movies that do tackle that, but this is on a whole other level. And I just think that this movie is extraordinary. It makes me cry every time. The incinerator scene fucking scarred me when it came out. I had nightmares about that scene when I first saw the movie. I shit you not. Like, that was very traumatizing for me. But I just really love everything about this movie. It's still my favorite in the entire Toy Story franchise. But some days it's like the first one's my favorite, or the second one, and we'll get to those when we get to those. But I think Toy Story 3 is the perfect definition of how to wrap up a story. And yeah, it's just the best to me. And I think it's so incredible that this movie not only won animated feature at the Oscars, it got nominated for screenplay, and it got nominated for Best Picture of the Year. And this is still the last Best Picture nominee to also be an animated film, which is crazy. It's absolutely insane. But yeah, love this movie. So yeah, that's going to be my starting bid. What did I start at? 200?
Yeah.
I think 200.
Yeah, it was 200.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, I love your read on the trilogy and everything. I totally agree with that. It definitely is like just a personal choice of which one you like glom onto a little bit more, and they're all part of a whole, so it is really hard to like separate them and judge them on their own merits. But yeah, this one, I mean, the incinerator is definitely the first thing that I think of. It's just so it is so intense and it's so sad, and you know, the fact that it really does, you know, walk you right up to that line, and still manages to have the catharsis, and then, you know, you still have the goodbye scene after that, which is like almost just as sad. And but, you know, you also have you got Spanish Buzz in this one, you got, you know, you got new characters who were introduced really successfully. My favorite thing when this was coming out, this was 2010, and it was I loved all of the comparisons later that it like really mirrored the Walking Dead season 3. I don't know if any of you were like into that, where like Lotso was like the governor and stuff like that, and it was, but it's like it really did it nailed some of those like complex character dynamics, where like, you know, our gang of friends and everything have like some different ideas about how to like approach these changes that are going on in their lives, and you know, it deals with all of that just really 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 deftly. So yeah, I love this movie. You have the same taste as Quentin Tarantino. I think, isn't this one of his favorite movies of the century or something?
Film. I think it was his favorite film of that year. I think he said that it was like his top 5 favorite films of the 2010s. This was very high up. I think when I did my 2010s ranking at the end of the decade, this was number 4 of the decade for me.
Yeah,
it was very high up for me, and
it is. It ranks super high for me, and yet I have other Toy Story priorities, so I will pass on this one.
Okay. Nicole, Larry, are you going to partake in bidding on this film?
I like Veronica. I love this movie, but I like other ones more. This one, actually, I think, too, I almost have the most memory of seeing it, because like you, I saw it in the theater, too, when I was a kid. And yeah, I think you summed up the trilogy there of 1, 2, 3 so well, that there's just so much change with the toys, and you go through so much with them in the first 3 movies of integrating Buzz into their lives, but then also the other characters that come and go, and Jessie in the second one, and just, oh, they're so beautiful. But I am gonna pass on this one.
Brian, do you have a movie yet?
On my team?
Yeah.
I have Ratatouille.
Oh, right, you have Ratatouille. What did you pay for that? $250?
Yes. Hey, be happy I didn't start this bid at $1, okay?
I think it would have been a smarter choice to do that. But I will bump it up to $250. And I'll see what you have to say about that.
I'm gonna bump it up to $300.
All right, cool. I'm out. I'm surprised. I cannot believe that you got to let me get away with that again. Like, again. Toy Story 3 is great. I love Toy Story. I knew that this would be fertile ground for the bidding, so I am not putting my eggs in this basket. But, you know, I do think that even though we are getting more Toy Stories, I do think that Toy Story 1, 2, and 3 is a perfect trilogy of films. And I think that I still think that Toy Story 3 is a culminating chapter. It is the Andy trilogy. And you know, I think that when Toy Story 4 came out, I think a lot of people were like, why? The Toy Story 3 was perfect. And, like, I grant you, I felt the same way. But based on the direction of how these newer Toy Story films are going, which, by the way, I'm a big fan of Toy Story 4. I think it's a great film.
As am I.
Yeah, and
TS4.
Yeah, I won't hear, you know, I know a lot of people don't like it. I can understand why some people are a little frustrated by it. It's not a perfect movie. It definitely is not as airtight as the first 3. But, and based on what I'm hearing about Toy Story 5 and what it's doing with its characters, I haven't seen it yet. I will be seeing it soon. But, you know, it's clear that we're taking the toys in a very different direction with these later films. We are allowing them to explore their relationships with each other and their relationships to their own identity, which I think is incredibly fertile territory. And so Toy Story 3, I think, was just this lightning in a bottle. Like, they did it. They actually did it. Like, they actually made a third Toy Story. How many years after Toy Story 2? Like, over
11
a decade.
years.
Yeah. Over a decade after. and it was just as good, if not better. If you think it's better, maybe you do, maybe you don't. Like, they did it. They actually freaking did it. And I just think it goes to show that these guys just care so much, and they really do not half-ass anything. Like that incinerator scene, again, I cannot believe they got away with that. I genuinely don't think. That's one thing about the newer slate of Pixar films. Like, they don't get quite as dark as some of these ones do. Like, I'm trying to think of a newer Pixar film with a scene that feels as viscerally dark as that incinerator scene, or as the Barracuda scene in the beginning of Nemo. And I struggle. I struggle to think of any.
I think, not to jump in or anything, but I think that Brian and I talked about this with, I don't know if you guys saw The Sheep Detectives recently, but that was something where that's, a kids but family movie, and that one goes to a dark place, and I'm like, I feel like we haven't seen this in a while, because that used to be the space that Pixar would take up, that super, lighthearted, very fun, but it definitely goes there, and scares the shit out of a couple little kids, but like it's just, it's kind of a rite of passage through life,
Yeah, I think you have to. I think that it's important for kids to experience things like that. Obviously, you don't need to, scar them for life. I think obviously it takes it takes a gentle touch. But that's why scenes like that incinerator scene and the Barracuda scene, and even like, I don't know, like I'm trying to think, like the rat traps in Ratatouille. I think that scene is honestly kind of dark too. It's important for kids to recognize stakes and reality, of the world, that the world is not perfect, that things happen. And this movie, and in a way, obviously there's the incinerator scene, but also like this movie doesn't have like the traditional happy ending, right? It's not like Andy's like, you know what, I'm going to be a kid forever and we're never going to leave the toys ever. It's like, no, like he has to leave. We have to do this. And you don't see a lot of animated movies that, like, the only ones I can think of are, like, maybe Zootopia movies. Like, I think those are maybe the closest that are kind of reckoning with these more adult themes. But, man, I miss it. I miss when it felt like this was more common in animated cinema, with these darker moments that like, reach a really strong catharsis.
Yep.
Yeah.
For sure. Well, Brian, you got it for 300, so moving on to Larry has the next pick.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to pick one of my personal favorites, and I'm going to start the bidding at $1 because I can, and I want to, and this is WALL-E. I'm putting WALL-E up on the board. This is a very special movie to me. This is a movie that I have. I mean, all Pixar, there's like that upper tier of Pixar are amongst my favorite films in the same breath as I speak about other films like 12 Angry Men and Singing in the Rain and, Silence of the Lambs and all of this stuff, right? But this one in particular really sits high on that list. I think it is maybe Andrew Stanton's greatest achievement as a director. I think that the way that the story is told is so detailed and so imaginative and so meaningful. And it's a film that has aged like fine wine. And I think it's because Stanton had a vision. I think he saw the way the world was moving. And, I think what's great about the Pixar team is that they're more than just filmmakers. They're kind of philosophers in a way. Like, I feel like Pete Docter is kind of a philosopher. When you look at his, like, video diaries for Inside Out, and he takes these, like, hikes where he thinks about, like, oh, what am I going to do about this movie? How am I going to write these characters? He gets very philosophical. And to me, WALL-E is also a very deeply philosophical movie in the way in which it portrays climate change, the way in which it portrays technological innovation, human connection, our reliance on AI. Jesus Christ, this movie hits even harder now. Auto is like everywhere now, it feels like, almost. We're in a moment right now where things like ChatGPT and Anthropic are all trying to serve the directive. We have the directive. And it's really powerful to watch a movie that's like, nope, None of this is going to matter. It's all about, like there's nothing quite like holding hands, man. It's never going to get better than holding hands. So I'm starting the bidding at $1. Wall-E. Probably my favorite. Maybe, like, definitely in the top 3 for me, for Pixar.
I will raise the bid to $20 for Wall-E. I'm going to spill a bit of a hot take. I really like Wall-E a lot. I don't love it as much as everyone else, but I think it's so good. It's really great. The first 40 minutes of this movie, honestly, is my favorite thing that Pixar has ever done. Where there's no dialogue, it's just Wall-E on Earth, all crumbled and all disheveled and all the trash around him, and then Eve comes down and then they spend their time together. And Wall-E is just like a monumentally adorable character that I just want to protect with my heart. And if anyone out there doesn't like Wall-E and just wants something bad to happen for him, I hope something bad happens to you. So never talk smack about that little robot, because he is so friggin' sweet and earnest and lovely. And how could anyone hate a guy like him? I wish more guys would be like him, quite frankly. So yeah, everything that Larry brought up, it's crazy how this movie is very timeless and very relevant even now, like almost 20 years after it came out, and what it says about climate change and then AI and all these other topics and everything. Consumerism is another topic that this film tackles. And it was just a bold swing, I think, for Pixar to put something out like this at that point, because you kind of had an understanding of what you were going to get from a Pixar film, even though you're like, how are they going to outdo themselves next? And when this came out, I mean, it was, quite a swing. And I think it, for the most part, pulled off really, really well. I'm just not as crazy about the stuff in space as I am about the stuff on Earth. But I did rewatch the movie the other day in preparation, and it's starting to grow on me a bit more, the stuff in space. But I'm not quite there yet, but I totally understand why it really emotionally resonates with so many people, and it's regarded by many as one of, if not maybe the best Pixar film out there. So yeah, I'm going to raise the bid to $20.
I'm in a similar boat as you, Brian, where I really love the opening silent movie almost between him and Eve, and then beyond that, I don't connect to it quite as much, but I haven't rewatched it like you did recently, so I could definitely give it another go soon. And I mean, I love everything it's going for sure. I love a good anti-capitalism movie that's about like the terrifying future that we're all hurtling towards. So I definitely I understand why people connect with it so much. And yeah, maybe a rewatch, and I would bump this up a little bit more, but it's kind of in the like it but not love it range for me. So I will bow out of bidding.
Yeah, I'm in similar boat as both of you. It was never one of my top favorites, but Larry, I totally loved how you summed it up there and how it is so relevant to today, because I think when you think of a lot of movies that tried to portray a future, I don't know, first one that pops into my head is Back to the Future 2. And,
I think of that one all the time, yeah.
Right, and they're like, oh, you'll have flying cars and you'll have all of this, but then you see a movie like Wall-E and it is so much closer to what reality is now, however many years into the future, and it is terrifying how real it is, and how, like you were talking about, relying on technology and AI and all of these things. And yeah, I think it is just so interesting to see a Pixar movie like this be so accurate to today's society and how true those feelings are about where the world is currently. But I, like Veronica, will pass on bidding for this one because it is also not one of my top favorites.
That's crazy. 21.
I think people would be offended if this movie is bidded for $21.
Go ahead.
All right, we'll raise it up to $100.
101.
My God,
You gonna get me higher?
And you call yourself a big fan of this movie?
You're gonna
Do
push
you
it.
know
You're gonna
how
push me
many
higher?
votes
Go
that this
ahead.
will get for you? Like,
Yeah,
this,
go ahead.
I don't want this on my team. I feel like I don't even deserve it. But
So are you bowing out?
I'm trying to raise the bid to see how far you're willing to go.
But are you gonna bow out though?
Not quite yet.
It seems like he's going pretty far. I think you should keep pressing, Brian.
I said 101.
Okay, let's go up to 125.
126.
150.
151.
Oh my God, are you kidding me? 175.
176.
Oh my God. Veronica's not even going to cause the crash out today. Let's just be completely upfront.
I had nothing to do with it.
200,
201,
205,
206,
210,
211,
215,
216,
217,
218,
He's reeling you into his game, Brian.
219.
220.
I'm out.
Cool. All right.
There you go.
Gimme.
220.
on a nice even number, too.
Yeah, none of this 221, 222, none of that BS.
Fine.
Okay, back to Nicole. You get to put 2 films on the board, so what are you going to put on the board next?
Okay, first one I'm going to nominate is a more recent film, Turning Red. Turning Red. It's, I love that movie. I feel like Canadian. I got to do the Toronto representation with this movie. I love this movie.
Yeah.
First Pixar movie to ever be solely directed by a woman. First feature Pixar movie.
This
to be
is
directed by a
true.
woman.
Yeah.
And you have Sandra Oh, you have Maitre, so many great casting in this. I just think it's so wonderful, and I love to see, it's so interesting being from Toronto to see a movie portrayed like this. Obviously, Toronto's used in a lot of different movies, animated and live action, but it is so fun to see it set in Toronto, and how they animate Toronto is just beautiful and bring it to life on screen in that way. I just love so many of those aspects.
How much are you going to put it on the table for?
Sorry. I'll go $5.
I will raise you to $20. Because I really love this movie too. Yeah, it's really, I think that this one got kind of screwed over by COVID and went straight to Disney Plus. And I feel like had this, it was just bad luck, bad timing. I think that if this was released later and actually went to theaters, I think it would have been a much bigger hit. It's kind of, we get Pixar stories and kid stories centered on girls and growing up, but like to deal so directly with like a girl's, puberty and period issues and the feeling of, liking boys for the first time, not quite knowing what to do with that, how that affects, you and your friends and you and your mom and all this stuff. And it's got a great boy band called Four Town that I believe Billie Eilish and Phineas did the music for, and I think he sings on it too. And it's just like really like credible pop music. Like you totally buy them as a real group. So yeah, I remember watching this one just at home, but being like, God, this is great. The creature design is fun. The like kaiju sort of fight at the end is really cool. So yeah, this is a really good one. So I'll go 20 for this.
It's absolutely absurd that this got relegated to a Disney Plus release, because when this movie came out, this was early 2022, people were finally starting to go back to the movies. Like Spider-Man No Way Home had come out and it performed all these great numbers that these theaters were yearning for almost 2 years and everything. And it's absurd that this was just dumped on the service and everything, undeservedly so, because this is one of Pixar's best islands of the last decade. It's so funny, and I love everything that you two said about the movie and how it tackles a young girl's coming of age and adds a very clever spin to it and everything. And I think it's one of those films that would be so great for young girls to watch when they're going through similar things as the character of Mei Mei and everything. And I really think that everything that I love about Pixar is here in this film. Has a great message at its core, really fun dynamic and everything. Larry, I think you said something earlier about a lot of the Pixar characters being fathers, and while the main character of this movie isn't a parent, we have a mother at the center of the story as well.
100%.
And I think it's one of the most fascinating mother-daughter dynamics that I've seen on screen in recent memory, and it makes for a really fun banter and really fun back and forth. And I also want to shout out that one kid who like frequently bullies the girls in the movie. Then we learned that he's secretly a fan of the boy band. And not to bring up any of my past or anything, as a kid, I was a huge fan of the Jonas Brothers, and I was not afraid to hide it. So I kind of felt like I saw a little bit of myself in him and everything, being like, oh, I'm not allowed to like this stuff, or oh, you're dumb if you like this, but then secretly you embrace that liking, and it's so good. I love this movie. What was the last bid? $20?
Yeah.
I'll go $30.
Yeah, I'll raise it up to 50. This is a great film. I totally agree. I genuinely do think that what is it called in the MCU when there are those like moments that like are definitive and like like they're like they cause a branching path
Like
or
a
whatever.
canon event.
Yes, whatever the canon event, whatever it is. Them deciding to not put Turning Red in theaters to me was a canon event for Pixar as a company, and I think that much of the turmoil, quote unquote turmoil, that I think the media likes to portray at Pixar is very much indebted to the fact that this movie, which is a beautiful, dynamic, funny, exciting movie that I completely agree totally sits up there with lots of other Pixar films released in the decades prior. The fact that got relegated to streaming, at a moment where they very easily could have put it in theaters and given the box office a huge surge, I think that was criminal. I think it was a really big mistake, and I think that it's like there's like, what is it? There's like Onward, Soul, Luca, Turning Red, and the one that came after that, I think, which
Lightyear
was also on
came
streaming.
after that.
Right, that was in that. Right, that period that was not straight to streaming. That did go to theaters, but
Yeah.
I feel like that a lot of people look at that as like a blight on the Pixar, canon, and I'm looking at 4 out of 5 bangers from that list. I'm not a huge Lightyear guy. I don't think it's bad. I think it's okay.
I think it's bad.
And okay, that's good for you. We can have a greater discussion about what works about that movie and what doesn't work. But I mean, Luca, incredible film. Onward, one of the craziest Pixar endings in my opinion. It's like one of the most beautiful Pixar endings.
That came out
film.
literally the week before the world shut down.
Yeah,
By the way,
yes,
that's
exactly.
insane.
Exactly. Turning Red, amazing. Soul, oh my god. Oh my god. What
that
a
might
movie.
be brought up later.
Yeah, what
might
a,
be brought
what
up later.
a picture. Like all incredible films. And I think Turning Red really does I think a lot about the history of the gender dynamics at Pixar. I think about it quite a lot. When Brave came out, and not a lot of people talk about this because Brave is yet another movie in the Pixar canon that is a bit bumpy. That was set to be the first Pixar movie directed by a woman, and it kind of got hijacked in the middle. And I believe it was Mark Andrews, I think, who ended up co-directing and getting a co-directing credit on the film, even though the original director of Brave, which sounds so terrible, but I'm blanking on the name right now for it. I cannot believe I'm blanking on it, but she did get the Oscar when that movie did win the
Brenda
Oscar.
Chapman.
Brenda Chapman, thank you. So Brenda Chapman did get the Oscar, but when we would see Lasseter leave Pixar after allegations of sexual misconduct, and you look at the history of how John Lasseter ran Pixar, there definitely was a staunch gender bias at the company, and Brave was sort of meant to be the movie to break that bias, and just did not happen. And to me, Turning Red, I think, is really the first film. I mean, yeah, you had Finding Dory, but it's not really the same. Turning Red was really a coming of age. It was a story about a woman coming of age, and I'm pretty sure the puberty and the period stuff is it's explicit in the movie, but I'm pretty sure the concept was also explicitly sort of a play on that. It very much was a play on periods and I become a raging animal when I'm
she's a
on
red
my period.
panda. So.
Yeah, but it's this thing of I become a raging animal when I'm on my period. Well, what if she actually became an animal, right? So I think that's a brilliant idea, and I think that the fact that caused controversy when the movie came out, and yet other crazy allegorical moments in Pixar didn't, I think, is wild. And I think it just goes to show that there is a really strong gendered bias in the Pixar filmography, and I think Turning Red really represents a really important moment in Pixar history. And honestly, I would kind of like more of them. I mean, Hoppers, is another great film with a female protagonist. and I would like to see more of them. And I'm kind of Win or Lose is an ensemble series, but it does have a number of strong female characters. I'd like to see it become more of a trend. I think Turning Red is a really beautiful film, and if that is what we could get, then I don't know how we don't have more of them.
Yeah. Sorry, what was your last bid?
Oh,
$50.
$50?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I will raise it to 100. I totally agree with what you were saying there about, and I think too, like Inside Out, and especially Inside Out 2, when we see Riley going through puberty, like films like that where we're experiencing girlhood and growing up and going into those ideas, and like you were both talking about, a lot of especially earlier Pixar films are like from that dad perspective and the boyhood perspective, more of it. And so I totally agree that I think Turning Red sticks out for that reason and more, of course. But yeah, it was a shame that it didn't get the theatrical run that it deserved, because I think more people would have appreciated it and realized how fantastic it was for Pixar to have this movie had it had more views.
Yeah, I also can't believe I forgot that Riley is a girl and that movie was also about a girl before, when I was talking before. But,
But it was directed by a man, though.
Right, it was directed by a man, but also it was the emotions. I think a lot about how, like, when we talk about this gender bias, of course, a lot of the early Pixar films are abstracted to the point of universality, right? Like, and Inside Out, I think, is abstracted to that point. Everyone has joy, sadness, blah, 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 but not everybody gets periods, right? Like, that's to me, like, that was the push forward, I think. And in the same way that Brave was a mother-daughter story, although I personally do not think that mother-daughter story is as strong as Turning Red.
I completely agree.
I think the choice to make the mother a bear. I always think back to that College Humor sketch where it's like, that's me mother, she's a bear, where all the Disney princesses meet up or something. But that choice to sort of transform the mom character, I think, hinders what could have been a really strong mother-daughter story. And I think that Turning Red is really the first true mother-daughter Pixar film. And I want more. I want more of them. Give them to me now.
I don't know if we mentioned, but Sandra Oh gives a fantastic performance as the mother.
Fantastic.
So good.
Like,
really funny, really heartfelt, and Rosalie Chang as May, they just have such a great dynamic that you can feel through the animation.
Yeah.
I also love the dynamic between May and her friends. I particularly want to shout out her friend Abby, who is the most energetic, cocaine-fueled character ever. Like, oh my god. I remember watching this movie for the first time, sitting on my couch watching it, and I had to lean all the way back because I'm just like, okay, simmer down. Oh my god. But so good. And also, I love the choice with the animation here, to where it's very much like a really cool blend of hand-drawn 2D and then the Pixar 3D, but then also you get all these anime influences sprinkled throughout. And anime isn't something that I gravitate towards on an easy way and everything, but I really love the approach to it here. And I think it's cool that Pixar, decided to, make some cool choices with their animation style here. They decided to play around, and I think that the results were very rewarding.
Yeah,
what was the last bid? $100?
$100, yeah.
I'll go $110 for this.
Yeah, I'll go 125, and I'll also say that, like, people like to shit on the Cal Arts art style of, like, newer wave animation, like a lot of the Cartoon Network stuff, like Gumball and that He-Man remake that they did, which was bad on its own, regardless of the animation style. But I like it, and I'm fine with that. And I don't really feel like it's as ubiquitous, as people like to say. And I think it works wonders in this movie. I think the animation in this movie is so dynamic and fun to watch, but yet I don't think it sacrifices a sense of scale. The kaiju fight at the end is amazing, and that whole sequence at the end in the spiritual world, I think, is like amazing. I think it's absolutely amazing, and like it is just as powerful. That moment to me is just as powerful as like anything in the abstract world of Soul, or like any of the other like abstract places that Pixar has gone in the past, like an Inside Out, like any of those abstract places. I think that is a beautiful, beautiful scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we've talked about Domi as the director a little bit too, but I also loved her short film before this, Bao, that came out in 2018.
One of the best.
One of the I mean, in a company that's like famous for their short films, like that is one that definitely stands out, and you can totally see how that carries over into this, and how she uses that. I mean, it's a parent-child relationship, and there are her specific cultural references and the love and the push and pull there. I mean, it's all there, and so I really like I want to just see her develop so many more, because I'm so just into her point of view and how she presents these stories. I think she's just brilliant, and I will raise it to 150.
Let's also not forget to shout out the really cool score by Ludwig Göransson. Mm-hmm. Very good score. Very cool. What's that joke you made a while back, Veronica, of how he's like no one but Nolan and Cougar could work with him?
They're fighting for joint custody of him on each film, yeah. But he stepped out. Was this his only Pixar contribution? I think so. Right?
I believe so. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But give it time.
I'm excited to see him
very busy.
dabble in the animated world again. This is the only animation that he's composed so far.
3-time Oscar winner, right? 2?
Three? Soon to be 4-time Oscar winner, probably.
True, but I mean, the dude's a genius. He's a total.
He's one
genius.
of the best. He's easily one of our greats working today. What was the last bid?
150.
I'll go 160.
I'll go 170.
I'll jump to 200.
And I'll bow out. I'm going to go get some dinner.
I will also bow out.
Ooh.
Come on, Canadian versus American. This dynamic, I love to see it.
I'll go 205.
I don't want to be America.
Damn. Rip.
My country is New Jersey.
Happy 250th. I don't want to be America.
My country is New Jersey.
My devil's shirt right now.
There it is.
I'll jump it to 215.
Ooh.
Just to clarify, Nicole has $445 remaining, and Veronica has $750 remaining.
I will give it to you.
Okay, great. Thank you.
How much did you get it for?
215?
Yeah.
215.
That's a strong number for a great movie.
Yeah,
I think we accurately valued that.
I think we've
For sure.
spent really good money on all the films that we've put on the board so far.
That's definitely my favorite of the 2020s so far. So I'm glad to end up with that one.
I would say so too, yeah. All right, Nicole, you get to put another film on the board. So what are you going to put?
I was toying around with which one, but I think I'm going to go Toy Story, the original Toy Story. I love the original, like we talked about. I love the first 3 so strongly. I love Toy Story 4 as well, but I mean, just looking at the first 3 films, they're just so incredible together. But the original, I feel like it just, I don't know, for me, nothing can beat it. I love the original. I love the feeling of the original. I love how Buzz gets integrated into their life. Not only are we looking at how important it is for Woody and the other toys to be with Andy and what that relationship means to them, and Andy's experience of boyhood with his toys. And I mean, that's an experience that's universal for anybody. But Buzz always freaked me out as a kid. Did you ever watch the movie, not Pixar, but Monster House?
Masterpiece.
That Buzz always I always felt like he should just be in that movie. He felt like he could just be in that movie. And he would fit in 0 problems. But
That's funny. That's crazy.
Toy Story is just a classic. I love all those movies, but I love the first one, I think, the most, and I'm going to start at $20.
I will not be partaking in this bid because I already have a Toy Story film on my team, but I have to echo everything you said. It's crazy that this was, without this film, we wouldn't even be here right now talking about any of these movies, so we really have to thank this movie for being the movie that kicked off this entire saga of Pixar movies. And a lot of people like to say, oh, the animation looks a little dated and everything. To me, yes, obviously the animation has evolved throughout these films and everything, but I still think that the animation here is really beautiful and very impressive. And I think that for a film, that came out 30 years ago, it still holds up really well regarding the animation, but the story itself is so much fun. It's so entertaining, and I also think it's brilliant how, like, when this movie came out and where it was in the careers of Tom Hanks and Tim Allen, like, Tom Hanks had just come off winning his second back-to-back Best Actor Oscar. Tim Allen was on the highest rated show on television at that point. He obviously had this established relationship with Disney with that TV show Home Improvement, and then, of course, he had also done the Santa Claus movie the year before. So I think that you could say that two of the best castings in Pixar history are them as Woody and Buzz. Like, you could never picture anyone but them. When I think of those two actors, I immediately think of these characters. And, of course, they're wonderful array of work outside these movies. But there's something that I really love in particular about Tim Allen's work as Buzz throughout this series. Because when we're introduced to him in this first movie, he's so energetic and he's very loud. And then obviously as the series progresses, he's a bit more restrained while still having that energy to him and everything. And I think it's incredible voice work from Tim Allen. And there's just lines that he says that, again, like with a lot of these quotes that I bring up, may not necessarily be funny, but it's because of how they're delivered. That whole sequence underneath the car where he's just like, "You are a sad, strange little man, and you have my pity. Farewell." It's too good. Genius. Yeah, it's a great film, and yeah, it's a masterpiece.
You are a toy.
One of Hanks's best line deliveries of all time.
One of the great Pixar moments of all time, right there.
Just my God, just like him explain everything. What are you talking about?
The exasperation in Hanks's voice is so real.
That's why he was so perfect for this role. Like, that's
yes.
God. So $20 was the last bid. Is anyone going to partake in this bid?
Yeah, I'll raise it to 50. I just rewatched this yesterday. Watched that yesterday. Watched the second one today. I'm gonna do all four before I see the fifth one later this week. So, yeah, my takeaway from it was like, is this one of Tom Hanks's best performances? Like, legitimately,
yes.
I'm glad you talked about Tim Allen, Brian, because yeah, of course he's great too. But like, Tom Hanks, it's just like, I don't even know how to put it. It's just so, I mean, Tom Hanks has a very distinctive voice, and he had been a giant movie star for decades before this. So sometimes it's hard to like make that leap and try to like kind of disappear into an animated role, but he's just so witty, like, it's just crazy. And yeah, you buy him as the like kind of king of the campus in the beginning when he's Andy's favorite toy and everyone loves him. And I kind of forgot that like for the larger part of this movie, like the other toys like think he murdered Buzz, and they're kind of like willing to like not really too worried about him coming back, because they're all like think he betrayed them. Like that's a funny dynamic, because you do just think of that like really jovial, witty and everything, but like yeah, he's got like he's a little sharp with some of the toys and at times and stuff, and
some of his faces, like face, iconic.
Oh my
For sure,
God.
yeah. He's like just a little bit of an asshole, in addition to being like a really funny, charming guy. And
One of the
like,
most asshole moments of him is, "Look, I'm Woody. Howdy, howdy, howdy. Ha ha ha."
Yeah, just the way
These
he's
movies
like
are so quotable too. By the way,
Yeah.
like all these movies are just so quotable, and yeah, it's so good.
just so good. Yeah. What did I raise it to?
$50.
50. Yeah.
Larry.
Oh yeah, 100. What else do I have to say about this?
Yeah.
It's Toy Story.
All right, duke it out, everybody. I'm gonna be all Woody and watch it.
I'll go 150.
I don't like the sound that Brian just made. I would like you to not make that sound ever again.
Sorry.
Please. I would also like to point out, I'll say 175, and I'll also point out that Randy Newman's soundtrack is amazing. And You've Got a Friend in Me, of course, but Strange Things is a banger. And I Will Go Sailing No More is one of the greatest songs in an animated movie ever.
It can't be true.
Yes. And especially that last shot where Buzz is like in the arms, goes like, Anna, we'll go sailing. Like, just that vocal. Like, people like to make fun of Randy Newman's vocals sometimes, which I get it. I make fun of them like almost every day. But
we love him.
But there is something about his vocal that like is so guttural It's like he doesn't even have the time to pronounce the vowels. He just needs to get the notes out.
You just gotta get it out there.
He just has to get the notes out. And guess what? I know every goddamn note by heart, so I get it. Like, and I think that in a weird way, like Buzz, I look at Buzz as like the central character of Toy Story. I don't know if you guys would agree or disagree with me with this, because a lot of people look at it as a two-hander. But I kind of think that Buzz experiences the greater existential problem in this film. And so I think that's why when Woody went through his own thing in 4, I really liked it. But he also goes through a thing in 2 as well. But like, I just am shocked by what that movie gets away with the Buzz storyline and how he basically learns about mortality and human obsolescence and then has a total mental breakdown with his Mrs. Nesbit routine, which
Don't
is
you
also,
get it? You see that hat?
Yeah,
I am Mrs.
Nesbit. Yeah, just a brilliant beat. Yeah, so many. I mean, I could talk about the film all day, but those were some of the things that I particularly love about the film. So I'll raise it to 175.
So when you're sucking down Darjeeling with Marie Antoinette and her sister. I like forgot about that one. That was so random. I was like, that's hilarious.
Who comes up with one?
Yeah.
I'm like,
God. Oh my God. The writing. Pixar writing, man.
And I just love some of the Easter eggs in a lot of these Pixar movies, but I particularly love the Home Improvement, Buford Tools Easter eggs in Toy Story. Like
Oh my God. The toys, the Sid's toys.
Oh,
In my nightmares to this day.
Yeah.
The one-eyed like doll thing and
The baby on the spider leg, the fishing pole with the
the
legs.
spider one.
I think the guy who like rolls himself with his hands and going like that.
Yeah.
Like what
Or it's just
what the
so
fuck,
visceral
Sid?
when he takes his sister's doll and like puts it in the vice. And, like I
Yes!
could so much of that I could like just like it shot me back to childhood and like see that for the first time and
God,
stuff.
what the fuck, Sid?
oh my God.
Jesus.
And like, I don't believe that boy has ever been to medical school.
And the fact that that kid has his own shed for his toys and stuff like that, like in his house, he's just doing construction on these toys.
Every time I go back and I watch this movie and the scenes with Sid come up, I just think of that random moment in time where Will Poulter dressed up as Sid and
Yeah.
everything, and like it was the most spot on costume I've ever seen in my entire life.
He
got
looks
the
like
eyebrows.
Sid in the It movies. Or wait,
Yeah.
he's not in the It movies. What
He was
movie
supposed
is he?
to be. He was
Right,
supposed to
but
be
what
Pennywise.
what movie is he in where he has that really short haircut? And
We're the Millers.
Yeah. He looks
Yeah.
like Sid in We're the Millers. Let's be honest. just go with it, dude.
So I think the last bid was 175. Is anyone going to raise the bid?
I'll go 200.
I'll go to 15.
Ooh, spicy. I'll go 225.
I'll go 240.
Okay.
250.
Yeah, there it is. I'll bow out.
I'll go 260.
Looking at. Okay, you can have it there.
Wow. All right. I was thinking it might broach 3, but I'm satisfied where it sits.
All right, now we're back to Larry. What film are you going to put on the board next?
Okay, I am going to rip off the Band-Aid and I'm going to throw on Monsters, Inc.
Oh, here we go.
That's gonna be a bloodbath.
Wait.
Yeah, and we're starting, and you know what? I'm going to break my tradition, and I'm going to start this at 200, because we all know that we want it. So let's just do it. Iconic movie, iconic characters. I someday am still hoping for my put that thing back where it came from, or so help me, stage adaptation on Broadway. I just love the movie so much. I think what it has to say about friendship and fatherhood and what it means to have to like question everything in a weird way, like conspiratorially speaking, I think is a really powerful message. And I think it has one of the best endings in Pixar history, which is the laugh. Switching from fear to laughter as the power source, I think was a brilliant move. So I'm going to start the bidding at $200.
I will raise it to $250. So I brought up that a week ago, Ratatouille became my favorite Pixar film. This was the film that had that spot for many, 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 many years until this recent rewatch of Ratatouille. This is one of my favorite films ever, period. I have loved Monsters, Inc. since I was a kid. I watched it constantly on loop back in the day. I remember we had the VHS and I wore that tape out day after day after day after day, and then I would play it on DVD and then eventually get the Blu-ray and then watch it on 4K, and then I pop it on all the time on Disney+. Billy Crystal and John Goodman, that to me is the greatest casting in Pixar, quite frankly. When I think of perfect casting in film in general, I cannot picture anyone playing Mike and Sully except for the two of them. We did a 2001 draft a while back, and I put this on my team, and I, similar to you, Larry, like, I love what it has to say about all these things, and then particularly of how it's like, well, now I'm questioning my morals and my motives and everything now because of what I'm seeing behind the scenes of what is really going on in this corporation that I'm a part of and everything. And again, like, we don't get films tackling this anymore that are aimed for families. And I think it was so bold of them to do something like this. And I love it so much. And it's so funny and it's so heartfelt. And the dynamic between Sully and Boo is so endearing. It's so sweet. And Mike Wazowski says pretty much every funny line known to Pixar. The whole exchange with him and Randall, where he's like, what happens when the whistle blows in 5 minutes? I get a timeout. Everybody goes to lunch, which means the Scare Force will be painted. Like, what? I want to know if that was scripted or if that was something that Crystal came up with on the spot, because that was just too perfect. Delivery. I love it very much.
Scary feet, and the bunk bed.
Oh my God! Just
iconic.
I'm so excited for when the land opens at Disney World and they have Harryhausen's, and then they have the coaster where you're riding on the doors and everything. I've talked about verbatim on this podcast how much of a massive fan I am of the video games Kingdom Hearts. When they incorporated Monsters, Inc. in Kingdom Hearts 3, that was one of the greatest moments of my life when they announced that, and I thought they did such a good job with that world, capturing the vibe of the film. And yeah, it's so good, and it's also very inspiring that this was in the lineup of the first ever Best Animated Feature Oscar. It lost to Shrek, and we all love Shrek. Shrek is a great film. Monsters, Inc. would have been a very deserving winner as well. But, also shout out Jimmy Neutron Boy Genius, which is a great film, too. But,
great trio of first nominees.
Yeah, fantastic trio to kick off the category and everything. But, Monsters, Inc. is incredible. It's great. It's wonderful. And, put that thing back where it came from, or So Help Me, is one of the greatest moments in film ever. So, $250 would be my
She's out
bid.
of our hair.
Can it, Wazowski?
Au contraire.
I love you.
I love you.
Nicole, are you joining the bid?
Well, I'm currently out of money for this bid, so no. But
Oh, you've been priced out.
Damn.
I do love this movie, like so many of, I think of Finding Nemo, Toy Story, Monsters, Inc., in the same vein of such childhood nostalgia of those movies. I love Boo. I remember having a Boo plushie when I was a kid, like a little stuffed animal of her, and I just loved her relationship with Sully, and it is just such a sweet and endearing story. I'm also blanking on the secretary's name. What is her name?
Roz.
Wazowski. You forgot to send me your paperwork, Wazowski.
That voice haunted
This
my
office
ears
is
as a
now
child.
closed.
There's just, like you said, there's so many funny aspects of this film. It is, I think, one of the funniest to me that stand out as Pixar films. I love this movie. But
You look lovely today. Did you do something with your hair?
It's very...
Oh my god. All right, Veronica.
It's really wild that they followed up my God, I almost said
Toy Story 2 came out before this.
Yeah. But the fact that they went from Woody and Buzz to then creating another perfect duo, and with the performances from John Goodman and Billy Crystal, like, it's just crazy. And yeah, you have Steve Buscemi as Randall. Get a Big Lebowski reunion there with him and John Goodman.
Where's
and
Jeff
then,
Bridges? What the hell?
I know, yeah.
He would have been a very good water nose.
He could have been water news, yeah. He could have been Roz. I don't know.
Where's your paperwork?
That's just like Mike Wazowski, man.
Yeah. What is the wait? What's the number? It's like it's a 1023 or whatever it is.
2319.
Yeah, that's like a 2319, man.
Far out.
Far out.
But
I'm
the
sensing
other
some juice here. Who's gonna squeeze it out?
the other performance that is so good is I think it's Mary Gibbs is her name as Boo, who was like just a little 3-year-old that they like. I've seen videos of them getting the the behind the scenes footage and stuff of just like following her around with a microphone and having like real authentic, like as she's playing, as she's talking and chattering and stuff. Like that is such a cool way to do a child character, because if you just even a great child actor, if you put them in front of a mic, make them say lines that are written out, like I just don't think you're going to get something as authentic and so so believable. So like you can just feel her coming through the screen as just this real little kid who's on there. And yeah, I also had a little Boo doll. She like said her little catchphrase. She would go Mike Wazowski and all that stuff. And she's just a perfect like, she's a audience surrogate for the kids watching it, and the parents watching it will love her and relate to how Sully feels about her. So yeah, it's just really brilliant. What was the last bid?
I raised it to 250.
I'll do 275.
Yeah,
I'll go 300.
Oh, I was about okay. I will do 350.
How much do I have left? I have 535 left. I will go to 375.
Feel a crash up coming on.
What was the last bid? 375?
Yeah.
385.
Okay. I'm out.
390.
400.
401.
This is going to be the highest one so far.
410.
Can you remind me what my other bids are at right now?
You have $520 remaining. Your other bids, you have Inside Out for 260 and Wall-E for 220.
Okay, what we're at? What are we at now?
410.
410.
Nearly half the budget.
No, I know. All right, I got to bow.
Yes.
I got to bow out.
Yes.
Wow, with $40 to spare, Brian.
Hey, I'm happy. I have 3 masterpieces on my team, so I'm happy. All right, so now it's back to me. Okay, since obviously I don't have a ton of money left, I think I'm going to have to refrain from bidding on any of the like super popular Pixar films and go with someone that is very liked, but obviously not as talked about as pretty much every other film that we put on the dock so far. I think that I'll go with another film from the 2020s. I'll start off the bid very low. I probably won't end up getting this film, but I'm happy to initiate its mention today on the pod. For $1, I'm going to put Luca on the board. I loved Luca. I will just say it wasn't gay enough, unfortunately. I wish that they went more into that, but you know what? I'm very happy with what we got ultimately. It was a beautiful friendship story, and it was set on this beautiful coastal environment. I have not, unfortunately, seen this since it came out. I didn't get around to rewatching it before this podcast, but I loved it when it came out. I was so devastated that this was another one that, like Soul and Turning Red, didn't make its way to the theater. I know that they did a re-release of all 3 of these films a couple years back, but they did it in some weird strategy where it was like only at like 2 o'clock on a Wednesday, and it's like, what about us 9 to 5 people? Like, how are we supposed to see this? Like, that's not right.
It was
anyway,
a rough rollout. That was a rough.
Yeah, I was not happy about that because I would have happily gone to see each of these movies in the theater because I've seen every Pixar movie in the theater except for like Bug's Life, and I didn't see Elio in the theater, and then obviously these three. But like, it would have been great to see these three films, three that I quite love, and I was really moved by and engrossed by, and I just really think that Luca is one that has been very embraced, and I could see the embracing growing over time, but it's one that I think is up there for some of Pixar's strongest work of the last few years, and I think it's so wonderful. So my starting bid will be $1.
I do really like Luca, but I'm trying to be compassionate that you don't have a lot of money left, and so I'll raise it to $15. I also I saw it when it came out. You didn't call it by its proper title, Calamari by Your Name, obviously.
Well, yeah, they missed the opportunity to have Sufjan Stevens.
Yeah.
He should have sung the song for the movie, and like,
Yep.
it would have been great. It would have made me cry because that guy's music always makes me emotional every single time, whether it's a happy song or a sad song. Yeah, I mean, this is literally Call Me by Your Name, which is hilarious because they ended up making a movie called Elio, and it's like the only Elio that I care about is Elio Perlman.
Right. So this is it's a delightful movie. It doesn't go for the, more abstract soul Inside Out, like, going for something more theoretical almost. It is like kind of a, an adventure story. It's this kid who has this power, and like see how that plays out and everything. I love the setting. I love the Italian sort of on like a Riviera. It's like, I think it's like 50s-ish, and so everything about the vibes of this movie are just really good. So 15 for me.
And we can't forget the great line, Silenzio Bruno.
Something along the vibes of this movie that I love was the use of color too. Again, like it's so important in animation with color, but something with the newer animation style too is like everything feels more vibrant, especially in a movie like this where they're showing this Italian seaside kind of setting. I'm gonna pass on this one only because I'm saving my spot for something else, but this is a delightful movie.
Veronica was mentioning something about compassion. I don't know what that. I'm not sure what that is, and I'm raising it to 50 because I really like this movie.
All right,
I want it.
I figured that if anyone was going
Brian.
to outbid me that high, it would be you.
Yeah, I watched this in the theater. I was that one guy at 2 p.m. that managed to get to see this, and I cried. A lot is going on in the world right now, in my world and in the world at large, and we're not here to talk about all of that right now. But the bottom line is, yes, I am very happy that queer audiences were able to embrace Luca for the allegory, and I think that's great. I also think that the movie is really just an allegory for intolerance in general, and as somebody who has confronted that kind of intolerance in a lot of different forms, not just for queer people, but of people of all different kinds for all sorts of ridiculous reasons. Sea creatures are so cool. If I found out my friend was a sea creature, I would be like, that's the sickest shit in the world. Holy crap. And just, the intolerance allegory, I think, is just very simple, but it's incredibly effective. But I think more importantly, this is about a kid who's just trying to figure it out. Like, this is about a kid who he doesn't really know who he is. This is a kid who's been trapped by his parents in his home his entire life. He's never really gotten a chance to be out in the world, to become his own person, because he has incredibly protective parents. And in that way, it kind of mirrors Finding Nemo in a lot of ways. But then when, he manages to make it out and to experience the world, and he makes friends, and he learns about space, and he's like, what is space? I want to learn all about this. And he makes friends, he even makes enemies, and he gets to just have an adventure. And at the end, he gets to make a choice for himself. And he says, I'm going to do this. I'm going to pursue my passion. And, they accept that. His friends accept it. His family accepts it. And I think it's just a really powerful story about independence, finding your independence and standing your ground, even when it means defying your parents, even when it means potentially separating yourself from your friends. It's a really, really powerful story. And by the end of it, I was just really moved by it. I think when I watched it for the first time, I was like, that was cute, watching it on my TV. But watching it in a theater and after having, lived what feels like many lifetimes since I watched it for the first time, I was really, really moved by it. And I found myself really, really connecting with that character. And I think the ending is so heartwarming. It's just so beautiful and innocent. I think that a lot of people are watching Pixar movies right now, and they're like, I remember Hoppers came out, and like people were like, oh, it's too optimistic for me. Like it's not cynical enough. And I just will never understand it. I'll never understand it because an ending like Luca, which is just so like just like perfect happy ending, that will never get old. So I am sticking this at 50.
Veronica, are you going to outbid him?
No, I'll leave it there.
Let's go, baby. Cheapest bid on the board. Easily. I can't imagine a movie selling for less than this.
And a spite bid too, just to get Bryan out of there. So
it was not a spite bid. I want this movie. I want this movie after being... Listen, I got beat out of Monsters, Inc. I got beat out of Finding Nemo. I was like, no Toy Stories. I didn't bother with Incredibles because I knew that it wouldn't happen. I want this movie, and the true Pixar fans will vote for me having this movie on my list. And so will all the gays. You're welcome.
Of course.
Happy Pride Month.
I'm an ally.
All right, Veronica.
Perfect. Okay. My turn now, and I now have the most money to spend on the board. So it's time to stop fucking around and do my personal Toy Story pick, which is Toy Story 2. And I will open that for, let's say, 50. Because
I'm going to stop fucking around. Yeah. I have the most money, $50. I'd buy that for $1.
I don't want to spend too much if I don't have to. I still have another pick after this. So
and this is why we do the strategy, Bryan.
So yeah, I'll open it there. I was pretty sure, but going into this rewatch, like I said, I just finished rewatching it today. This is my favorite. It's just like the first one is great. It brings us into the world. It gives us the characters, but the second one is more of an ensemble movie. You get the first one is a lot of Woody and Buzz, and this one we get introduced to Jessie and Bullseye, and you get Wheezy too at home with Andy, and then just all of Andy's other toys have a lot to do when they're with Buzz going to rescue Woody. It's really cool. The concept of like, oh, Woody is this collectible toy who's like, very very valuable and has this kind of, he sees it as like having this other life, but what is a life on a shelf in a museum rather than being with his beloved Andy. And this is kind of where I feel like the sort of metaphor of like the toys almost as parents to their kids that own them is sort of kind of a little bit established and plays out like beautifully throughout the third and the fourth one. And so I think that, it's the idea of, like Bryan, you mentioned it before, this one is kind of about like, how do you relate to love when you know that it's going to end one day? And it really, it ends on that note. Like it's, he is acknowledging that, he could go and sit in a museum forever and be with Jessie and Bullseye and the Stinky Pete. But, it's more worth the risk to love your child and watch them grow up, and that's not something that you would want to miss for anything in the world. So I think it's brilliant. I think I've had the rootinest tootinest cowboy stuck in my head this entire draft because I just finished watching it, and I just think it's a perfect expansion of the world and an expansion of the themes, more of the characters we love. I just think it does everything perfectly.
Yeah, obviously I cannot bid on this movie, but I agree with everything that you said. It's fantastic. I love that now, the first movie, like you said, was more of a duo movie with Woody and Buzz, but this is very much an ensemble. We have all these different storylines going on, and I think it all comes together very beautifully, and you have a lot more comedy here, but then you also have a lot more heart here. And then, of course, we've talked about this verbatim, and everyone will talk about it till the end of the time. Everything with Jessie is so beautifully constructed, so beautifully handled, and When Somebody Loved Me is one of the most devastating needle drops in cinema history. But then you get like all these new characters, and I think they're all introduced beautifully. Obviously, Jesse and then Bullseye. Stinky Pete, I think, is one of Pixar's strongest villains out there, and a lot of it has to do with the lights out performance by Kelsey Grammer, who is a criminally, in my opinion, very underrated talent that I don't think a lot of people give him the attention that he deserves. We obviously all love him as Frasier from Cheers and his titular titled series and everything, but like the work that he does here, and then of course as Slideshow Bob on The Simpsons, and then his eclectic work on the stage as well. Like he's a force of nature, and I think that, you know, those characters, like you find a way of really caring about someone like him, and you get where he's coming from, but you're also like, fuck you and your stance. I don't want to side with you at all, but I understand where you're coming from too. So I really appreciate that element. And Wayne Knight as Al, oh my God, phenomenal. I can't believe I have to drive to work all day on a Saturday. I can't believe it.
You stole my line. God damn it. That becoming a meme on Twitter is a net positive for the world, I think.
And then the whole segment of them crossing the street to the toy store is one of the best. And there's this little beat that I appreciate when it's happening, and you see them under their cones and everything, and you just hear Buzz go, "Drop! I said drop!"
Also, all of the Daddy Zurg shit is so funny.
Good
So
throw,
funny.
son. That's my boy. Oh, you're a great dad. Yippee!
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. It also has one of my favorite exchanges. I don't remember the dialogue, but it's when Stinky Pete, before he goes full villain mode, he's just like, how much longer are you gonna be his toy? You know, like that's such a riveting little moment. I think it was one of the first moments in a Pixar film where we really like kind of got real for a second. And it would happen again, but that to me is like, I love Toy Story and the existential crisis moment, and to me that's that moment. Like the point of deepest sorrow is at that moment where he's like, how much longer? What are you gonna do? You know, and I think so much of that, as you said, Brian, is on Kelsey Grammer's vocal performance. I think the fact that he just brings it to such a level so quickly is just, I mean, voice actors are actors. Let's just say it right out the bat. In voice acting, the fact that we don't have an Academy for vocal work is an Academy Award, excuse me, for vocal work is a shame, in my opinion.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I'm gonna pass on this one too because I already have the regular first Toy Story. But you brought it up, Brian, the needle drop of When Somebody Loved Me and the whole montage of Jesse and you were original owner, and I was like, I remember the first time I watched it, I was like, where's all my toys? What did I do with them? Did I stuff them under bed too?
Yeah.
But there's
It's my least favorite part to get to. Every time I visit this movie, I'm like, uh-oh, here we go. Because as soon as she's like, because Emily was just the same. She was my whole, I'm like, here we go again.
But yeah, it's...
And then she just starts singing, and I'm like, fuck.
Veronica, how much money are you working with right now?
I have $535. What did I bid for? 50?
I believe so.
Yeah.
And you have 2 films, right?
Yeah.
You have Turning Red and Incredibles?
Yep.
See, here's where I'm at right now, right? I have one other film that I would want on my draft because I love it so much. And part of me is like, do I want the draft that I feel best represents me as a Pixar fan? Or do I want the draft that's going to win? And I do not know. But I am going to... I want to see where you're at. So I'm going to push this to 300.
I will go 350.
Oh. Okay, wait. Can I get a stance on Well, Brian's done. Right? Oh, no, you have one more movie. You still have one more movie, right?
You already outbid me. I only have $40
I know.
left.
No, I know that. But you still have another movie that you need.
Everybody needs one
yes.
movie.
Okay,
Everybody
and
needs one
what
except
is-
for I need 2.
Yeah, what is Nicole's numbers at right now?
Nicole has 185 remaining right now.
I'm going to push
Nicole has 185, you have 470, I have 40, and Veronica has 535.
I'm going to push it to 400.
I'm going to push it to 410.
420.
440.
$4.50.
$4.60.
All right, you go ahead.
Yeah.
There, you can take it.
Thank you.
It's gonna be so funny that the next movie I'm gonna buy is gonna be guaranteed. I'm gonna have so much money left over. I feel like such a putz for not bidding on Finding Nemo more. But you know what? Or Monsters Inc. But you know what? It is what it is. I just needed to get that out.
There you go. All right, that was my pick.
Is that the biggest one?
Yes.
Yeah.
Was it? Yeah. There you go. Worth it. Worth every penny. Let me see. I did not think through what I was going to pick next. Interesting. Let's see what we're working with here. Okay. Well, let's go ahead. I'm also kind of in the same boat. Like I have like more personal favorite versus like what's going to be more popular at this point. Let's see. I'm going to go with let's stick with the recent stuff. The most recent one that I really enjoyed. Let's go for Hoppers for $5.
I'm happy that Hoppers is making an appearance here.
Yeah, $5 for Hoppers. Brian and I reviewed this on the podcast. We're both big fans. You know, does that cool thing of bringing you into a world, making you. I love the animation thing where like the animals look differently to the people versus to the other animals. That's a really clever design, and yeah, it's got that environmental message. It's got that message of our lead feeling like very alone in the world and kind of depressed by the forces greater than she is. And yeah, Larry, you're right when you said before it's ultimately not a cynical movie. Like it's pretty uplifting, and everything kind of works out in the end. But yeah, it's just very it's very clever, really funny. I think that Vanessa Bayer as the shark was the highlight for me. She was like just hilarious. So yeah, this was like a really and like we're talking about, a lot of the beginning of this draft was very heavy on the early Pixar stuff, but we're showing now that like Pixar of the 2020s I think has still been largely a positive. And this one, yeah, probably behind Turning Red and Luca. I think this would probably be my next favorite of the 2020s of this decade so far. So yeah. Let me throw Hoppers out there if anyone else wants to jump on a bid.
I'm not going to partake in this bid. I love this movie. It's so good. I'm excited to revisit it. I keep seeing ads for it on Disney Plus and everything, and it keeps playing the same clip. This is just like Avatar. This is nothing like Avatar!
This is so not like Avatar because I actually want to watch this movie.
And the green lizard, the little lizard, that's my favorite thing I've ever seen in my life. I love that guy so much. That's literally like my favorite person ever. I love that little guy. Yeah, everything that you said, Veronica, it's so good, and what it commentates on and what it says, and I think that it's one that could definitely age really strongly over the next few years. And yeah, I think it's a great film, and again, it's a reminder that Pixar is still putting out winners. So yeah, that'd be a very good pick, but I'm gonna pass on this bid.
My major gripe is we didn't get enough Tom Lizard. He was all over the marketing, and I wanted him more in the movie.
The movie probably would have been a 5-star for me if that were the case.
I unfortunately did not see this in the theater when it came out. It was just one of the ones I happened to miss during its release, so now I need to watch it on Disney Plus. So I'm not going to bid on it because I haven't seen it, but I have heard nothing but fantastic things about it. That lizard has been all over my social media since like last year when they first started
As he should be.
For it. Like the one of him hitting the button.
Yep. Lizard.
I'm excited to watch it. Yeah.
So what, it's at $5 right now?
Yeah.
God damn it. I cannot believe I'm actually going to let this happen. But I will also bow out because I'm just not interested in bidding in it. I like the movie a lot. And I think it's really beautiful. I don't know if it quite is as like, I don't know. I think that there are some... I think there's something about the movie that makes me feel like if we kept it more in the world of animals than it would have been a little bit more interesting to me. Mm-hmm. But I do love the moment when they have to communicate with each other. Or Mabel has to communicate with the animals without her earpiece. I thought that was a really powerful moment. And I think that this movie's so funny, so hilariously funny, very irreverent humor in the same way that Turning Red implements irreverent humor. And I think it will definitely age, especially as the continued environmental catastrophe that our country is currently going through continues to be reckoned with. But yeah, conceptually, it just didn't quite scratch that same itch for me. So I'm gonna bow out, and I'm gonna let you take the lowest paid movie, which is absolutely crazy. But there you go.
My team is complete, and I've got 2 early Pixars and 2 later Pixars, so I'm happy with the variety there.
Beautiful.
All right, Brian, you're next up.
Okay.
What can you get for the low price of $40?
There's like 2 or 3 answers to this question, Brian. And none of them look particularly good for you right now.
I know. $40 for this movie is insane. But see, the thing is, like, I don't know how passionate Larry and Nicole are about this movie, so it's like, I don't know. We'll have to see. Okay, I will put $20 on the table for Coco. I don't like that I'm bidding it that low because this movie is so fucking good. It's so good. I rewatched it for the pod. I hadn't seen it since it came out. A great story, and kind of sad, but a story that I like to always bring up every time I think about Coco. When this movie came out in 2017, I saw it with the girl I was dating at the time, and she said that she felt no emotion at all at the end of the movie, and I'm like, well, your loss. Bye. So
that
just
is
comes
a
to
red
show.
flag
So thankfully that girl is ancient history and everything, because this movie is a massive emotional roller coaster for me. Now, I will say this one I won't spoil because it's still relatively newer compared to a lot of the other Pixar films and everything, even though it is almost 10 years old. Having known the twist on this rewatch, it definitely lost a little bit of oomph for me. That being said, I still found myself very emotionally connected to the story of following Miguel, who just wants to follow his dreams of music and how he's confined in this family to where music is like a sacrilegious thing. And then as the movie progresses and we learn more about his past and everything, like his family past and everything, it's like it makes for a really compelling and engrossing story. And the music is absolutely gorgeous here. It's beautiful. Music playing such a prevalent the music kind of acts as a character of its own in the movie, and I'm not talking specifically about the score. I'm talking about the songs that are written for this movie, and I just think that it makes for a really fascinating element to how this story is being conveyed, and I really love the Day of the Dead environment and everything, the backdrop of that. I think it's so cool and so interesting to explore that dynamic and everything. And this was directed by Leon Gritch, who, of course, had previously made Toy Story 3, so of course, he's no stranger to tugging at the heartstrings and making you feel things, but also making you feel warm feelings as well, and so moved by everything. And I think that Coco is one of those Pixar films that when this came out, Pixar was kind of in a bit of a hit or miss phase because, after Toy Story 3 came out and just like rocked everybody's socks off, they were putting out films that weren't garnering the same fanfare as the films that came out prior. And we had Inside Out come out, and that obviously kind of felt like a semi-return to form for Pixar. And then they dwindled a little bit after that. Not too far down, but just a smidge. But then I think this helped them go back up to where, they were and everything. And I really appreciate that. So, yeah, Coco is fantastic. And, I'm going to start the bid at $20, but it wouldn't surprise me if I'm outbidded on this one.
I'm obviously done, so I'm out. But yeah, I want to say that it's you're right that, Inside Out was definitely a high point, but this was the first time that there was a musical in quite a while, and that felt really different to have something successful that has those really
wasn't this
signature
essentially
songs.
like their first dabble into a musical? Like, they hadn't really done anything prior, right?
Brave does too, like have music and stuff. But yeah,
Oh,
you
yeah,
know,
that's right.
Yeah, but
that
it's
you
not the
associate
same.
more with Disney. But yeah.
Coco
So this is
does
like,
musical storytelling, and Brave
Yeah.
doesn't really do that.
right, exactly. Yeah, so I think that was a highlight of this one. And Remember Me is just such a fantastic song that's so indelible. With
Winner
this, so.
of the Oscar for original song, even though my dearly beloved Mystery of Love was also there. And it's like, if something's going to beat that, I guess Remember Me is a good one to take it. So can't complain entirely.
Works. Yeah, great movie here.
I'm gonna bow out, and I'm gonna let Brian have this one. Unless Nicole, you're gonna fight it. But yeah, I hate to say it, but knowing the twist does kind of take away some of the magic for me in this film, and there's also just kind of like an icky taste in my mouth with this movie because it really feels like this is the movie where Adrian Molina should have just directed this movie and sort of been at the helm of it. You know, he was really a really strong presence behind the conception of this movie. And to see what happened with him and Elio, which Elio was really meant to be his big breakout as a director. Again, we pin so much of Pixar on the big guys who helped shape it. But Adrian Molina, I think, has just done such incredible work at Pixar. I like Elio a lot. I really was moved by that film. And you can hear his voice so clearly in it. And it's the same with Coco as well. I think they announced a Coco 2, right? Recently?
They did. Yep, they did.
Yeah, so
I don't know if I want another Coco, to be honest.
I don't know if I want another one either, but I would like it if he directed it. If he got to direct it.
He's listed as the co-director, and Lee Unkrich is directing it again. So
Okay, never mind.
So
I had
who
some
knows?
I would really like for this to be his project and for him to get a lot of love. But yeah, there's a lot to love in the movie. I think that the world is vibrant and gorgeous. Un Pollo Loco is an amazing song. I love that song. But yeah, it does kind of feel like the movie tries to create a tension in the relationship between the protagonist and the villain. And once you know that, between him and the singer, I should say. And once you know where it's going, everything kind of feels a bit prescriptive, which is sad to say because I know a lot of people love this movie. But this is not one of my personal faves. And it's not, I wouldn't argue just because of the diminishing returns on the twist, it's not really in my upper echelon either. So I'm going to graciously bow out.
Nicole?
I'm gonna pass on it too and let you have it. I'm still holding out for one, I think. But I haven't rewatched this film since it came out when I first watched it, but I do agree that I could see on a rewatch, knowing the twist, taking away some of that magic for you there. But it is fantastic. Like you said, the musical storytelling in this film is so well done. So many standout songs. But not one of my top favorites either.
All right. My team is complete. Very happy with my team overall. I have no complaints with any of my picks. So, yeah, very happy there. All right, Larry, it's your turn.
All right.
Are you going to put a Toy Story film on your team?
I am not. And that might be my undoing, but I am going to pick a movie that represents me as a Pixar fan. If I didn't get Monsters, Inc., and I didn't get Finding Nemo, then I'm going to go with the movie that for me represents what I think. It represents me as a Pixar fan because this is a movie that I tend to love Pixar movies more than I think the average person. I'm a big defender of movies like Onward, of Luca, of Turning Red, of Elio. And Soul, I think, is one of their best movies. So I'm going to pick a movie that I also really love, that I don't think gets enough love, and I think has since gotten a little bit more attention. And I'm also going to throw all of my money at it. So if any of you motherfuckers try to take it from me, I'm going to do something drastic.
Oh my God.
I am picking Monsters University as my final pick. And I am starting the bidding at $400. So nobody come for me, por favor.
Nobody can come for you.
Yeah, great. Okay, good. So I created I set my boundaries, and we all respect my boundaries, even if it's the rules of the game.
$400? Oh my God.
I have 400. I have like 470 left or some bullshit like that. I need to use up all my money.
This is just $10 behind what the original was pitched
Okay,
on.
listen, I'll just throw, you know what? I'll just throw all 470 behind the bid so I can take biggest bid. Because
are you sure? Okay.
no one's going to outbid me. No one can outbid me.
I cannot wait to make the graphic for this, and someone's like, who the fuck bid $470 on Monsters University?
This motherfucking
out of
guy
respect.
right here, okay? This is like, it's like The Godfather. It's like you pay your respects to the king. This is me
So
paying
funny.
my Pixar tax.
This
okay?
is so crazy.
So look, remember in the beginning, I said like I'm either going to get the one that wins or I'm going to get the one that's me, and I think we ended up in the latter here. But I think Monsters University is genuinely a fantastic film, and the reason I'll sort of explain this a little bit. I watched this video from a creator called the Sin Squad. And, I watched Monsters University. I thought it was great. My first time watching it, second time watching it. It's a lovely time, right? Funny, captures the authenticity of the relationship of Mike and Sully to a T, even though I know it's not canon in comparison to Monsters, Inc. All the timelines off. I don't fucking care. The relationship is there and it's beautiful. And I also just love the college. I love the way that they sort of capture the college experience, but in the monster world. The characters are fun. And I even before I saw this video that I was talking about, I thought the ending was crazy. I genuinely thought that final act where they go to the human world, especially knowing about Monsters, Inc. and knowing the events of that movie, watching them do that, even if it is a bit of a retcon, again, of the canon, it felt really powerful. Like, that was a moment to me where I was like, wow, we are testing the world building in this prequel in a way that very few prequels would dare to do. A lot of people talk about how everything's got to be canon and a straight line, and Monsters University fucks with that, obviously. But I think it's for the better. I'm kind of sick of having to make canon a straight line. Just make good movies. You know what I mean? Like that. If Monsters University couldn't have existed because of one line in Monsters, Inc., we would have been worse for it as a society. But I saw this video from the Sin Squad that basically was like, Monsters University is about neurodivergency, and here's why. And she basically explained, this creator explained, that the moral of the movie, this idea that Mike and Sully, that they effectively, do not graduate from Monsters University. They're both kicked out. They both drop out. And they realize that, these goals that we aspired to are not the end-all, be-all for us. There are other paths forward for us. And specifically Mike Wazowski, this arc of him like, I want to be a scarer. I'm going to be a scarer. And at the end of the movie, they say, you're not going to be a scarer, right? It's just not going to happen. I think a lot about how when I was 4, I wanted to be a firefighter, right? Maybe if I had done some work, it could have happened. But like looking at me now, firefighter wasn't really in the cards, okay? I barely had social skills when I was 4 years old, let alone the ability to like save a human life, right? So like for me, and so this video basically explained like that's very much kind of how neurodivergency works. It's this idea that because of how you're born, literally, like your genes and your genetics, there will be some things that you just will not be able to do purely on principle. But that doesn't mean that there isn't things to aspire to. That doesn't mean that there isn't still a life in front of you, that you can't make something of it, that you can't make friends, that you can't have a career, that you can't live a fulfilling life. And as soon as I saw that, it really instilled in me this feeling that this narrative that Pixar is like, oh, past their prime, or oh, it's been so messy. I really think that there's a lot of people out there that are connecting with Pixar films in a really deep way, in a way that the mainstream media narrative just cannot account for. I think about when Elemental came out, which, by the way, another great film. I really love Elemental too. The narrative behind that movie was so like almost rude. Like I remember the Hollywood Reporter review that came out was like, this movie feels like it was written by AI. And I couldn't believe what I was reading, to call a Pixar movie something that was written by AI. Like that's crazy. Like, I think that these movies are very deeply personal. I believe Monsters University was directed by Dan Scanlon. Can I get a fact check on that? Yeah. Brian's giving me the thumbs up. So that's a Dan Scanlon movie. He also made Onward, which was another deeply personal film for him. And I think about Peter Sohn, who made The Good Dinosaur and then went on to make Elemental, right? Like, Monsters University sort of, in my view, signaled a shift in Pixar. It was when new filmmakers were starting to take the reins and tell more personal stories that were less abstractly universal, like in the ways that Inside Out and Toy Story and Finding Nemo are. And I look back on Monsters University and I rewatched that film, and with that read in particular about neurodivergency, I found it to be so much more powerful. And to me, it was a beautiful way of taking characters we know, telling a new story that still felt bold, but without sacrificing what made us love those characters to begin with, and just the storytelling world. And so, yeah, Monster University for me is probably like one of the Pixar movies I appreciate the most in that respect. And it's why I don't know if it's going to win me any votes, but it's why I'm going to put that as my final film in my collection. And literally nobody can outbid me, so it's over. But please feel free to let's gush more about this movie, please.
I had, I think, 5 films on the list that I have not seen, and this is one of them. This is a blind spot for me.
Veronica!
So it's been recommended to me so many times, just for whatever reason, I haven't gotten around to it. So maybe once I finish up the Toy Story movies, this will be the next watch.
Now I feel bad. I just spoiled the whole goddamn thing.
It's
about the
13 years
execution.
old.
Okay,
Yeah,
please
it's my own
watch
fault.
it. It's so good.
Very good college movie. I can't really think of a ton of college-centered movies that I love. And when this came out, I was in high school, so obviously I wasn't able to relate to the college dynamic. And then I revisited this during COVID after I had graduated college, and it definitely hit differently, I will say that. And I'm not as high on it as Larry is, admittedly, and to me it doesn't come close to the genius of Monsters, Inc., but I think it's a very worthy successor. And, while I had wanted a Monsters, Inc. sequel, this was good enough for me, quite frankly. I was so excited to see these characters again and see their origins of how they met, and I was pleasantly surprised. And yeah, that third act, I remember watching it in the theater with my family, and I think I leaned over to my father, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like, I'm just like,
It's crazy. It's crazy.
the fact that they did that was a humongous swing that they were able to do that. And it's one of my favorite third acts in all of Pixar, because it's just like, oh my God, they actually went there and they're actually doing this. Like, wow, this is incredible. And also, at this point, it had been a little over 10 years since these characters were last seen on screen, but Billy and John jumped back into the roles like they never left, which is incredible to say. I mean, you could say the same about, Tom Hanks and Tim Allen when they, for all these Toy Story movies that come out, 5+ years after the original, and then when Incredibles 2, the actors jumped back into the roles like they never left. It's really hard to do that, and they did it terrifically, and it just comes to show how much they love playing these characters. And yeah, it's a very good film, and it's very good. I like it quite a bit. Nicole?
I haven't rewatched it since I saw it when it came out in the theaters, however many years ago that was. So I don't totally remember too much about it, but I do remember liking it. And it, like you said, it's fun. It's refreshing to change that setting to the college for this prequel movie. But I'm very glad you got it, Larry.
Let's go, baby. Let's go.
And now we are at our final pick. We have been recording for almost 3 hours, and it's time for Nicole to put the final film on the board. You could literally drop all your money on it. You could go crazy. You could pick whatever you want because none of us can take it from you. So what is going to be not only your final film of the team, but the final film of the draft? I know, a lot of pressure. So
A lot of pressure in one movie. I think I am going to go with a personal favorite pick, like you were talking about before, less of a maybe, I don't know how much of a wide audience favorite it is, but more of a recent one of my more recent favorites. And if I cannot have the OG, I will settle for Inside Out 2. I really enjoyed this film, and I am usually, especially in recent years, more of a sequel pessimist. I don't, we live in a world where there's constantly legacy sequels and prequels and sequels and all of that sort of stuff. And so I don't think every movie necessarily needs a sequel. And I was skeptical about going into Inside Out 2. I didn't know how well they were going to pull off and bring that magic that made Inside Out work so well. But I thought this was a very good sequel as far as sequels go. I loved the addition of anxiety, embarrassment, ennui, all those new characters. I know we lost Mindy Kaling and Bill Hader, but I do believe that the other Tony Hale, and I can't think of who voiced Disgust in this second one, but Liza Lepira. They both did phenomenal. And I do appreciate how they took this storyline. Obviously, we're only seeing Riley a few years later after the first film. She's now going through puberty. It picks up pretty close to where we left off in the first film, and I think there was a lot of great explorations about that whole entry into girlhood and puberty and the headbutting you run into with other people in your life at that age, especially in things like organized sports and school and all that kind of stuff brings a lot of new changes as you're growing up. And I loved how they brought that story to life. I loved how Riley explored not only these new emotions, but then also how joy and sadness and anger were exploring this new part of Riley's life and adjusting to it once again as an extension to what we saw in the first film. And yeah, I really enjoyed this. Obviously, I think the first one is forever going to be the best one, but this movie, I really think captured that emotionality again and that heart and what it means to experience emotions and experience change and adapt to that in your life.
This was one of the more surprising movies that I had seen in recent memory because I didn't want a sequel to Inside Out, especially since Pete Docter wasn't directing it. I was like, how are you going to be able to capture lightning twice in a bottle and everything? Like, how are you able to match up? And while I don't think it matched up to the first one, I thought it was a very nice sequel. It was much better than it had any right to be for me. I loved Anxiety. I thought Maya Hawke was just a perfect person to bring that character to life. And I also think that, we recently on the pod, we reviewed Disclosure Day, and there's a sequence in that movie where one of the characters is having a very severe panic attack. And I'm very critical of how panic attacks are portrayed in film and television. And I think that when we get the panic attack scene in this movie, it was so authentic to where I sat in my seat in the theater watching this and I just sank in my seat because I'm like, oh my God, like I didn't even think that they were going to do something like this in this movie. And it was one of the more authentic portrayals of a panic attack that personally for me, I've seen in any movie ever. And I think that, yeah, everything that you brought up, Nicole, of how it explores girlhood, and now we're jumping ahead a few years and Riley's a bit more mature and everything, but she's still figuring out who she is and what she's meant to do and everything. And yeah, I thought it was a really solid sequel. It's a reminder that not all sequels are bad, quite frankly, but yeah, I liked Inside Out 2. I admittedly have only seen it the one time. I saw it when it came out, really liked it, haven't gone back to it, but yeah, it was much better than it had any right to be for me, and I'm glad that it exists. I'm really happy that it came out and everything. Did you say how much you were going to put on the table for this? Are you going to drop your entire budget, or are you just going to...
I'm just going to put it all out there, the 185.
Put it out there. All right.
186. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Yeah, I think this movie's great. I think that the way that the movie, again, I just think that they hit the conceptual challenge yet again. I think that a lot of people saw this and it was like, oh, it feels like a retread of the first movie. I think that's just because they just did it perfectly again, and everybody was like, well, they did it perfectly the first time, they did it perfectly again. They're both perfect. They're both perfectly done. And, sure, would I have liked something even crazier conceptually? Maybe. But again, I think about like when I was younger watching Inside Out in movie theaters, I learned how to recognize the way in which I process my emotions. And in this era right now, where we literally have technocracies controlling our mental healths via these stupid devices, this is a movie for that generation. It's a movie for that generation of how to figure out how anxiety works and how to manage it and what it means for it to consume you. And they do it exactly as it should be visually, and ideologically. It just fits perfectly. So I think this is another banger from Pixar. I'm really glad that I think that as soon as I heard it was going to be about anxiety, I was sold on a sequel. And if you told me that we were going to make Inside Out 3 in 10 years and it was about Riley as a parent, I would see it. I would see it immediately. I would.
Fuck.
I would. In the same way that...
It would be a downer. That would be...
It would be a downer, but Toy Story 5, right? People are like, why do I want to see Toy Story 5? Toys versus iPads. Seated.
Toy Story 5 is awesome.
Seated. Also, it being Jesse's story adds something to it. But so long as we do, I agree with you, Nicole. So long as there's a purpose. I don't think sequels are inherently bad. I also think that we should just stop calling it blank blank 2 or blank blank the second. We should just be because if I think about Looney Tunes movies, if you hate sequels, you're gonna hate the Looney Tunes, the classic Looney Tunes movies, because they came out with 50 of them, and they just recycled shorts over and over. But it's not called Looney Tunes 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They're just called Looney Tunes this, Looney Tunes that. They're it's almost more of an anthology. If we think about the films as anthologies, I'm suddenly not so upset anymore about there being so many sequels. And I think Toy Story is clearly going through this moment. I think that eventually we're going to get Toy Story 8, and it's just going to be absurd after a certain point. We have to stop putting numbers on these movies. It just makes them the butts of jokes after a while. I think that Inside Out could 100% be that way because every generation experiences different emotions, and we could go into the past with Inside Out when people repressed a shit ton of stuff. We could go even further in the future. We could follow a new character with emotions. Perhaps we could see what it looks like for a neurodivergent character to have Inside Out characters. What does that look like? Right? There's so much potential. And I think that Inside Out 2 just showcased that if you have good storytellers at the helm, you can do anything.
I echo everything that all of the three of you said, and I will add a shout out to Riley's hot dad. Thank you.
Kyle MacLachlan, baby.
At least
hear me out.
We know that's an age that they.
I don't think that's even a hear me out. I think that's universal.
Everyone loves the
Kyle
dad.
MacLachlan in general. In general. Come on.
Yep.
Wild.
He could still get it. Okay.
Thanks for that, Brian. We needed that extra input to make it even more uncomfortable.
Well, when you've been potting for 3 hours straight, that's what's going to happen.
So true.
Okay. We have done it. We have completed our teams. Now we are going to recap. We're going to say the film, and we're going to say how much money we spent on it. So Nicole being the first person, she's going to go ahead and read off her team, the film, and how much she spent.
All right, so first up, I drafted Up. I spent $250 on it. Second, I drafted Finding Nemo, spent $305. Toy Story, I spent $260, and rounding it out with Inside Out 2 for $185.
Now we're going to go to Larry.
That is a crazy slate. That is a crazy slate, and I should have stolen one of those from you. Okay. I do not remember. I don't have it in front of me. I'm just going to be straight up. But I'm pretty sure I remember it, right? It was Inside Out 1 for $260, I think. Mm-hmm. Then I had WALL-E for $220. Mm-hmm. Then I had Luca for $50. And then I had Monsters University for $470.
There you go. You remembered it.
I remembered them. And I still, if I had to watch all four of those movies back to back, I think I'm winning. But the moral of the story is I got Luca for way too little, and that screwed up my plan. But there you go.
Yeah, well, you know. All right, for me.
You know.
All right, so for me, I have Ratatouille for $250, Toy Story 3 for $300, Monsters, Inc. for $410, and Coco for $20. And Veronica?
And I have The Incredibles for $250, Turning Red for $215, Toy Story 2 for $460, and Hoppers for $5.
Those are some great teams.
Good job, everyone. Good job. Well, there's obviously some films that weren't drafted today. If anyone has any quick honorable mentions, we could definitely go through them. I think for me, the biggest one that I'm upset is not on anyone's board was Soul.
Yeah, I was gonna say that would have been very well seated at my draft.
I rewatched Soul last night, and that movie is the definition of perfect. And I really hope that someday I will be able to see it on the big screen because, wow, that movie is just so beautiful. And yeah, Pete Docter, to me, like everything that Pete Docter has put out are 5-star movies for Pixar. And I know that right now with his status at Pixar, we don't know if he's going to direct another film again, but I hope that one day we'll get another Pete Docter film. And yeah, Soul is awesome. And
Soul's joke about the Knicks became obsolete this week.
I know. I kept thinking, I didn't even, like, I hadn't watched Soul since it came out in 2020. So when they made that Knicks joke, oh, the Knicks lost again. I'm like, well, would you look at that? But yeah, it's incredible. And I think honestly, one of my if I had to do a ranking of Pixar scores, Soul would be very, very, very high up because the score that Reznor, Ross, and John Batiste, he's also a contributor. Incredible score, phenomenal stuff. I just love it so much. I think they're just the combination of their music styles works so beautifully. It's incredible. It's a wonderful film. And then other than that, Toy Story 4 is great. And anyone that says that it isn't, shut up. And I would, yeah. And okay, I'll give a shout out to Cars, I guess.
I was gonna say, Cars is a bit overhated. I think I like Cars. I think it's very
fun.
well done.
It's entertaining, and just Owen Wilson just going, "Wow, I'm a car, ka-chow, wow." It's so good. I just love it. I love it.
Yeah, I think that Cars 2 and 3 aside, I think the first Cars
3 is actually not that bad, but
no, Cars 3 is fine. Cars 2 is fine. Cars 2 is definitely...
everyone said everything that they needed to say.
Yeah, that's probably my least favorite Pixar film is Cars
I think
2,
it's still regarded as the worst Pixar film by many.
But Cars 1, in rewatching it, I really did get a greater appreciation for the Americana aspects of the story and sort of like Route 66 and what it means to sort of be left behind by, the industrialization and society moving forward. So that movie holds up pretty well for me, actually. The only other one that I'll point out is A Bug's Life, which I hold is the funniest Pixar film, and I will stand by that. I have the Blu-ray. I only have a few Pixar movies on Blu-ray because I only have so much money, and I have the WALL-E on Criterion, the 4K, and I have A Bug's Life because whenever I need a good laugh, pop that sucker in and just cackle the whole way through.
Ladies, do you have any films that you want to shout out, or do you want to give any insight on some of the films that have been mentioned?
No, I was just gonna say I was not necessarily surprised, but none of the Cars movies were on the list. It was funny. I love Finding Dory, which I don't know how well received that was by everybody, but I thought Finding Dory was a fun sequel as well. That would be. I loved Baby Dory. I mean, she's only in it for like 5 seconds, but I love Baby Dory.
Bug's Life also was like a childhood favorite for me. I haven't rewatched it in quite a while, but yeah, I do remember it being really funny. The whole like the leaf falls in the line and they don't know what to do. Go around the leaf. That's like we used to say that all the time in my family and stuff. And yeah, so that one for sure is like that would be definitely a personal favorite. Surprised that the first Cars didn't get drafted. I like it. I don't love it. I didn't expect the sequels to show up here. And then I love Incredibles 2. If someone had stolen the first Incredibles from me, I definitely would have drafted the sequel. I think it's the first one is like a masterpiece to me, so a little hard to live up to that, but I think they did a really solid job doing it. And then I like Elemental as well. I like Soul. I like Finding Dory. Yeah, all of those.
Elemental was very good. Elemental got a very bad rep, an unnecessarily bad rep for sure. And Incredibles 2, I rewatched that for the first time since it came out. I liked it less again, no, similar to how Larry felt about liking Coco a little less, knowing the twist. That's how I felt with Incredibles 2 this time around. Now, no, and I didn't really like the twist when I first saw the movie, but now, like when it came up again, I'm like, oh yeah, this is not it at all.
Oh,
but
I love Bob Odenkirk and Catherine Keener so much.
Bob
though. Like, I'll
Odenkirk is
listen to
just
them anyway.
literally bringing Saul Goodman energy to that role, and I love to see that. I love that, and I love the whole dynamic with Frozone and his wife, like in the first one. I'll be there ASAP. Where you going ASAP? You better be back ASAP.
Yeah, if we're talking about things feeling prescriptive, Incredibles 2 suffers from that big time when you rewatch it knowing the twist, unfortunately.
Yeah.
If that movie feels really predicated on that twist. But I think my favorite part is that there were so many more supers in an Incredibles 2 that we got to meet, and I kind of wish we got more of them. I think that's maybe one of the
Maybe we will in Incredibles 3.
Yeah, maybe.
That's on the slate.
Maybe. I would really like it if Incredibles 3 was just about totally different characters, if I'm being quite honest.
I also would like it if it was directed by Brad Bird, but, unfortunately.
Well, let's see how Ray Gunn goes, and we'll see if he still has the juice.
I'm excited for Ray Gunn. I'm looking forward
to me, it's like, I mean, I don't know if there's more to do with the characters in Incredibles.
I agree.
But we'll have to see. We'll have to look. You know what? If Dash and Violet get to make like the Avengers of the Incredibles, I am seated. I am glued.
Finally, a good Avengers movie again.
We'll literally cover all of the powers too. Like we'll make sure one person rages, Hulk rages. We'll get another person.
And then there will be all these Infinity Stones, and
Yeah,
someone will
yeah.
say he's inevitable.
No, but they'll call them something stupid like Forever Gems, and they'll be like, they're not Infinity Stones. They're not Infinity Stones.
Oh, that'd
Forever
be good.
Gems.
That'd be good. And then one final question that I want to pose before we wrap up. I want to get everyone's excitement level for Toy Story 5 and everything, because obviously when this episode drops, it'll be the weekend of the release and everything. So kind of just going around, how much are you guys looking forward to Toy Story 5? Nicole, let's start with you.
Yeah, I'm excited to see it. I'm not going to lie, when it was first announced and it was going to be the whole iPad kid kind of premise around it, I was skeptical because I felt like that was straying away from the heart of the toys and their story. But the more content I see now, the more interviews I'm watching, the more trailers that we've gotten, I'm excited. I think, I trust that they've done it well. All the Toy Stories I've enjoyed so far. Obviously, there's not a bad Toy Story. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited to see it.
Larry?
Yeah, I mean, I was sold knowing Stanton was coming back for Toys versus Tech. I mean, Wall-E is such a poignant commentary on technology, so I knew this would hit the bill. But then when I started hearing reviews that this was really Jesse's movie, I really got excited. I think that was the natural next step. And so, yeah, I got my ticket booked for next week. I'm really looking forward to it.
And Veronica?
Yep, same. I'm excited. The reviews that are coming out seem pretty positive. Like we've said, it's. I think Toy Story is such a popular one that they're not making this because they feel like they have to or they needed to slap the Toy Story name on it. Like I'm confident that it's motivated by a story that they wanted to tell. And yeah, the Toys versus Tech angle makes perfect sense to me, and I'm excited to see what they're going to do with that.
Yep. I can confirm it's
and you've
great.
seen it, so.
And I have seen it. And that will be our next episode where we give our thoughts on Toy Story 5, so stay tuned for that. And with that, that's it.
That concludes our Pixar auction draft. Longest episode ever? I think it's up there, right?
Yep.
Make sure to vote on our Twitter and Instagram.
And with that, ladies and gentlemen, that is a wrap on today's episode of Some Like It Real. Thank you all for joining us. If you're interested in following along our journey, you can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd at Brian Sutfield.
And you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Vero Albarella and on Letterboxd at Alba_real_A.
And a massive, massive, massive thank you to Nicole and Larry for joining us today. This was such a blast, Ken, to have the two of you on, talking about these wonderful films and going on and just about how wonderful they are. So thank you guys for coming on. And Nicole, where can the people find you?
Yeah, on Instagram, you can find me at nicole.soroka_ or at as seen on screen.
And Larry?
Yeah, I am on Letterboxd at Hey Larry. I'm on Twitter, although it was hacked recently and I haven't gotten back on it as of this recording. But hey, maybe I will at some point soon. It's at _ Hey Larry _ And then I've been spending a little bit more time on Instagram at Hey Larry _ peep my stories there.
Go give Larry and Nicole a follow. Links will be in the description. And you can follow the show on all socials at Some Like It Real, as well as on YouTube at Some Like It Real. Be sure to subscribe and share it around, and tune in every Monday and Thursday for a new episode of Some Like It Real on podcast platforms.
We'll see you next time.